Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another Tuesday. I didn't know what day it was for a second. I was like, wait a minute, what day is it? Welcome back to 30NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about, I added another topic. We're going to do a reaction video to Digital Foundries. But first, we're going to talk about the U.S. kids want game subscriptions and virtual currency more than games this Christmas. We're going to talk about Avatar devs have seen future film scripts. And we're also going to jump back into Avatar Pandora. Original vision of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was completely different than what we're getting right now. Then we're going to go over the Marvels plummet 79% at the box office, means there's a 100% chance that the MCU is going to be changing moving forward. And then we're going to go watch a reaction video of the PlayStation Portal by Digital Foundries review of it. And we'll give you my reaction as well. That's what we're doing on today's show. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about 1 o'clock Eastern. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. We do live streams for you guys, interact with chat during the mornings. We do uploads throughout the week. And then we also do a podcast Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern called Generation X Gaming, which ends my week, with a nice little podcast going over a few of the top stories in the past week with Sarge. And then we also do gameplay. We played last night. We played some RoboQuest. If you guys missed that, you can go check that out. It's a nice little game, first-person shooter, roguelike game. It's actually really fun. I'm addicted. I have like 16 hours into the game already in about 3 days. So check that out as well. Morning, Larker. What's going on, Dave Rose? Super Dave. Eclipse, the dude. Travis, Horseman. How's everyone doing? Good morning. Isn't today the day that ends in Y? It is. It is. And so is tomorrow. Amazing. All right, so let's start off. U.S. kids want game subscriptions and virtual currency more than games this Christmas. Right? Those of you that are new in my channel, we do breakout videos. So I do these videos. I talk to the camera. I make a video live on channel. And then I interact with live chat right after that. So if you watch this after the fact, and I mean like the upload of this story, like the standalone story, you will not get that interaction back and forth. Actually, it's an upload. So if you come live, we banter back and forth with the news stories here. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the U.S. kids want game subscriptions and virtual currency more than games this Christmas. Okay, so the ESA survey showed that only 22% of the U.S. children surveyed want physical games for the holidays. Okay, so a report by the Entertainment Software Association was found that 72% of children in the U.S. want games-related products for Christmas, but only 22% have asked for physical games. Of the 500-plus children surveyed, ages 10 to 17, most planning to ask for video game-related gifts for the holidays. Now, subscriptions were the most popular gift idea at 39%, followed closely by consoles, 38%, game accessories at 32%, and in-game currency at 29%. Surprisingly, only 22% of the children surveyed wanted physical games this Christmas. Now, the ESA also surveyed more than 500 adults for the study, which found that 1 in 3 plan to buy video games for themselves or others, with 57% of parents considering buying a video game-related present for their children. Hopefully, they're not just buying the PlayStation Portal without a console. Game-related products came out on top, beating other gift ideas such as money and gift cards, 70%, or technology like smartphones and smartwatches, 62%. Books were the lowest on the gift list at 26%. More than 212 million Americans play video games regularly, so it comes at no surprise that games are at the top of the year this year's wish list. And Stanley Piers Lewis, ESA president of CEO, he says, quote, whether the family is getting a new console, updating their controllers or headsets, or adding them to the library with new games, the expansion packs, we know video games are a great tool for families to play together and connect during the holiday season and beyond. So what's surprising about this is that 22% of the population of children, now obviously it's only 500 kids surveyed, but let's take this logic that we use in video games, right? Because people are going to look at this and go, well, only 500 people, got surveyed, or 500 kids got surveyed. But let's pretend this is a video game, and we're going to go to the Steam charts. And the Steam charts say that this many people are interested in, so 22% of the world population in the US want physical games, and everybody else wants subscription-based. So what does this mean? Does this mean that live video games or physical media is dead? No, it doesn't. If you notice, a lot more people are starting to buy books again. A lot more people are buying discs again, or like music. It's strange, I know, but what once was here comes back around once again, right? So does this mean physical media is dead? Right now, in this time frame, yes, physical media is dead, for the better say of words, but it's always going to be around. I've said this many times on our stream. I said that digital is going to take over, and I said cloud is going to take over, which is happening. And now subscription services. Now, I don't think this means that all of a sudden Game Pass is all of a sudden going to shoot through the roof and everyone's going to be like, oh, everyone wants Game Pass. I don't think that's happening. But I do believe that kids they're being conditioned right now, right? Everything that you have is on a cell phone or on a tablet. And there's no disk drives in those things, right? There's no disk drives. So anything that's on a cell phone, a tablet, a new laptop that has no disk drive, even the systems that they have, okay, are all digital, and that's by design, right? The companies work together to make things that you can't put physical media in anymore, and it's just more convenient. So when video game systems come out, and I've been saying this for years, I said that cloud gaming is going to be more popular. The diskless versions of consoles are going to sell better because they put more stock into those than the actual the ones with the disk drives in it. And this is by design. So I am not surprised in any way, shape, or form that majority of kids growing up nowadays want digital goods or subscription services, right? Because it's just what they know. So what does this mean for the game industry? I think it means great for the game industry. This is what they wanted. They wanted people to move towards, because they wanted them to go towards digital and subscription services, because they don't have to produce anything. They don't have to put it in a box. They don't have to print it on a disc. They don't have to put an instruction manual in there. They don't have to put it and ship it across the country to put it into box stores where they're losing money, because once it sells from GameStop and someone sells it back and then sells that game again, they're not making money a second time. GameStop's making that money, or secondhand stores. So what does this mean? This means beautiful things for the game companies, but not so much for us. I've said on the podcast and on this channel very much that I love physical media, man. I love where I can, put, cartridges or discs in my systems. And I'm old school. I liked that. I like owning physical stuff, even if I don't own it because of the license or whatnot. I still want to own physical goods. I still want to put a disc in the machine. I still want to do stuff. But I know a lot of you that watch me and that just out there in general don't mind. You're on PC and you've been getting Steam games and whatnot, and you don't own anything. And that's cool for you. But for me, this is a dark day. I don't really want everything to go digital. I want to still own physical. But let me know in your comment section down below, what do you like? Are you going for subscription services? Do you like the digital media? Do you still get physical media? Let me know in the comment section down below. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, chat. Are you concerned that the children of America, of the world, want subscription services? The dude says, "Rip gaming. Thanks a lot, kids." The study right here is all proof that you need that the kids are getting dumber. All I want for Christmas is gambling with FIFA map packs, Mom and Dad. That's right. That's right. My kid is mixed of all three. I got him a PlayStation 5 Slim, a few physical games, and V-Bucks because he plays Fortnite. I need a random player so I can do it all next year. Travis says, problem is that you said 22% of people's kids aren't people. we're clones of them. A Vinjoyer. Eclipse says, man, if I had a pass when I was growing up, it would be so happy. Barely got any new games, only for Christmas and my birthday. Yeah, and you would go to Blockbuster, or you would go to a video service, right? Like Hollywood Video, Blockbuster Video, to go rent games. Come on, water. My kid wants V-Bucks and Roblox cards. My kid wants physical games. We went to the GameStop the other day, and he's like, I want, I want Mario Wonder. What else did he want? Wanted another game. Oh, 2K. 2K. What is it called? The driving. 2K Drive. Is that what it's called? Right? He wants the physical discs. He wants the cartridges for the Switch. He wants for his Xbox, right? For the Switch, he wants the physical. He doesn't want digital. I think he's learning because he goes, it's going to run out of space on his Switch because he's got a Series S, right? And for his Series S, he doesn't want any games. What he wants is a storage card. Like, he wants a memory card so he can get more storage on his S because he's running out of storage because he keeps downloading games off of Game Pass. So it's funny to see that on the Nintendo Switch, he wants the actual cartridges because he doesn't want to fill up his Switch. And on the Xbox Series S, because there is no disk drive, he wants literally a memory card, more hard drive space. To be honest, every single kid at the school, I want the same. So you're 100% here. I no longer believe in the children are our future. Nope, they are though. Which is, I don't know if it's our future. Their future. Their future's my past. I will be dead when they're in charge. Look at the people that are in charge now. They're old as fuck. By the time these young people are that old, forget about it. I'll be dead. Kylo Green says subservice is all kids now. Days, of course, they prefer because they just don't know, right? But it's also it's not that they don't know. They know what they know, and they know that digital media is here because that's what's in front of them. Water says if you have a kind of a sit back and think, video games are mostly for kids. Most kids grew up using digital stuff anyway. The time for physical copies are now for collectors. It's true, Water. It's true because when we were kids, we had cartridges and then it turned to discs, and now the kids that are growing up, it's all digital. They're being conditioned from the start, so they don't really care about the discs. They don't really care about that type of stuff. I think the survey proves that kids are spoiled. And that they're like, and I want something in my day, I got to go what your parents gave you. Liked it. Well, now, instead of just getting a physical copy, though, you still have to earn the money to buy the thing, though, Travis. Paul says, my kid only plays Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft right now. To be honest, 6 years old. Yeah, my kid's in the transition. He's 9. So he started playing Minecraft at 3 years old. At 3 years old, he had an iPad. And he's playing. Like, if you watch my kid play Minecraft on an iPad, it would blow your mind how fast he is, right? Because every time you click something, he's not hitting a button. He's holding the button and moving. He is super... It's fascinating watching my son play Minecraft on an iPad. As he's standing and twitching around and moving around, and he's playing the... Like, if you have kids, you understand how much they move, right? But... it's amazing how fast he plays Minecraft on the iPad. And now on a controller, he's already beating... I mean, I can't beat him. It's close. We had a race last weekend because I've been practicing with Mario Kart. And it's funny. I beat him a couple of races. He won overall. And he looked at me and goes, I'm impressed, Dad. I was like, oh, are you? My wife just started laughing. So he's getting a little scared that I can start beating him again. On certain boards. So now he's leaning towards boards that he knows better than me. So I got to start practicing on multiple boards. But he's getting real good. My brother says in about another year he'll be at the point where we can't beat him in anything anymore. So the best thing of Switch games is they always hold their value. Correct. Yeah, that's what's great about them. PS games are about the spike in price. Your son's gonna play GTA 6 when it comes out during the college years, right? I'm okay with him. Like, if he played Grand Theft Auto and just drove around the cars and stuff like that, I would be okay with that. I don't want him playing Grand Theft Auto, like blowing up shit and stuff. It's just different. I guess it all depends on. I mean, I'm okay if he's like 12. I would say by 12, he'd be fine. Because my son understands the difference between like reality and video games. But because he plays games right now that are pretty, I wouldn't say gruesome. It doesn't come out for another 10 years, so you're safe. Yeah. He's played some bloody games, but you go around, he's been killing mobs since he was 3 in Minecraft. So exactly, Water. Yeah. He's Goku. Yeah. We power up. Oh. This is why games prioritize microtransactions over story and gameplay. They wrapped our kids into thinking this is norm. Yeah, dude, I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for years, and I know a lot of you are just finding me now, but those of you that have been with me for years, I've been on a podcast for 9 years. I've said it. They're conditioning. It's not about us. Water said it good up above, right? He said that it's about kids, man. Gaming is for kids, right? The kids generation, even Disney, what they're doing with the Marvel brand, Star Wars brand, they're conditioning our kids to be okay with what's happening. Where the people that were fans of it, we're getting older, and they're like, man, you know, they're gonna be pinching pennies soon, you know, but they want that new blood. They might not make the money now, but when they get older, they'll be like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I loved this thing. And we look at it and go, that's crap. Like their best thing is worse than our worst thing. The divide makes sense. We have the money, so we prefer individual games. Kids are broke, so subscription makes sense for them. Right, Lurker? And who pays for the subscriptions? If someone comes up to you and says, hey, can I have $70 for this game? Or if someone comes up to you, hey, can I have $10 a month? And you're like, yeah, you can have $10 a month. Epic can make more e-bucks from kids rather than developing a AAA game every couple of years. Right, Mr. 7? Oh, yeah, it's true. I don't have kids, but it's the best friend does it, and I beat them in the games as much as they can because I know one day they'll grow up and they're gonna whoop my ass in them. Oh yeah, it's insane the amount of like technology. It's funny to me that you would think adults would be better with technology, and I stay pretty much on the cusp of stuff, right? Like I don't want to be, at least for the next 20 years, I still want to be ahead. But my son can pick up something so much faster. So much faster. It's like almost telepathy, right? When they pick up a program for the first time or something digital for the first time, they just know it. It's like moving your arm, right? Or blinking. You just do it. You don't think about it. You just do it. That's how kids are with electronics. They touch something for like seconds and like their brain's like, oh, I know what this is. And they just do it. Did I hear Division 3 was confirmed? Yeah, Division 3 was confirmed a couple weeks ago. That Massive said they were working on it. So the solution is to build an Iron Man suit and call myself a well, good luck on that, building the suit for you. Come on, Silent Warrior. Every sci-fi depicts the future of the wasteland. Yep, that checks out. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, so I look at this subscription service. I mean, that's where it's going to go. I told you guys cloud gaming is going to be a thing. Going to be a thing. I know you guys say the infrastructure is not as good or whatever, but we're 15 years already into that cycle. So when I say 6 to 7, actually I said 5 to 7, okay? I say it's gonna be that way. I'll stick by that number still. Because you think we're starting at 0. We're not starting at 0. We're starting at already 15 years into the cycle. US kids want game subscriptions, virtual currency, and more games this Christmas. My son hasn't asked for virtual currency. He doesn't. If there's a microtransaction, he literally runs to me. He runs to me and he's like, "Is this okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're fine. You're fine." He's so scared. I've scared him so much about microtransactions that he does not partake in microtransactions. Like, this is what I told my son. I said, if you buy a microtransactions, I'm going to charge you a fee. So not only, like, let's say it costs $10 for a microtransaction, he's gonna pay me $15 because I'm taking my cut. Okay. The next Xbox and PlayStation consoles will be much smaller and probably less powerful because of all of that is the cloud-based technology. Because he has no money. So if he's going to borrow money from me to buy a microtransaction, he's going to pay extra for it. So that'll make him think twice about it. Water, wouldn't it be funny if the Nintendo goes back to like discs? You're nice. Our parents would have beaten us. No, my mom wouldn't beat me. She would just tell me no. I saw a video today. I saw a video today of a person, like a mom compared to today to a mom compared to when I was like growing up. And it was funny, like the mom was like, the kid's like, I want this now, and she's playing all the parts. I forget the content creator. And the modern mom's like, okay, sweetie, why don't we calm down and we'll talk it over. And then the like my mom would be like, no, you're not getting that. How many years until they shut down the 360 and PlayStation 3 stores? Didn't they already shut down? I thought they just recently closed it. If I'm not... They shut down servers or stores. Yeah, beginning on July 29th, we will no longer support the Xbox 360 store. So next year, July 29th, 2024. I don't know about PlayStation. Yeah, I'm not sure about the PlayStation 3 store. I mean, you can still use your Xbox 360. You just can't go to a digital store to buy stuff. Water. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. My mom tells a story where I forget if it was my brother or if it was me. that you threw a temper tantrum, and she would just leave you there and walk away. You know how the kid would just plop, we would just plop on the ground and just you know, type of thing. And she would walk around the corner and just watch us, and we would like freak out. We'd stop crying, get our shit together, and then when a person approached us, like, "Are you lost, little boy?" Like, "Mom!" You're like screaming, and then she comes over and grabs us. Yeah, like my mom didn't deal with that stuff. That's funny though. I have a bunch of games with gold that's still running the 360. I don't have a sub. I think when you have gold, if you download it, you still like you. It's basically getting. It's like going to the Epic Store and just downloading a free game. If you have gold, they still give them to you and you own them. You ran away. You went outside. You mean you didn't run away? You ran outside. I'm leaving. I hate it here. It's so unfair. Okay, great. I can't wait if my son ever says, I'm running away. I'll be like, all right, great. Well, you got to keep the bed here, your clothes. I'll let you keep the clothes that you have right now, but you don't own any of this, so you take nothing with you. So if you want to take some stuff with you, that jacket's going to be $15. That sweater's going to be $10. True story. When I was 9 months old, baby, with my parents brought me with them to a Ranger game. It was so loud, I cried the entire game and left 7th inning. It was Nolan Ryan's last. You don't remember this, Travis. There's no way in hell you were 9 months old and you remember it. Like, you're speaking of it like you remember it. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying the way you're saying it is like, back when I was 7 months old, I remember watching Nolan Ryan's. Yeah. I remember clearly. Clear night. Nolan Ryan stepped up to the mound, got that resin bag. 3-2 count. And I cried the entire time. If it wasn't for me crying that day, Nolan Ryan. Bringing a kid to a baseball game crying is not a big deal. It's fucking. There's a drunk guy 3 rows back crying. No difference. You didn't know who Nolan Ryan was? Jesus. Yeah. I remember when I was in the womb, it was just really dark and wet. Yeah. Like, what? It was like the public restroom. It was damp. Maybe that's why you're not a sports guy. Maybe it was ingrained in you at 7 months old. Maybe because you were crying the entire time at a baseball game. Because even at 7 months old, you were bored to death. Maybe that's why you hate baseball or sports. Can you imagine a 9 months old catching a foul ball? Have you ever seen, Craig, the one catch of a guy who had a baby in his arm and a line drive came towards him and without even like flinching, he just caught it barehanded? Yeah, I saw that, Water. I saw that. If I get an invite, I'll send out 3 to who. I don't know what we'll do. Well, I guess I'll put it in the Discord. So anybody that's a member, if you don't get an invite, let me know, and I'll more than happy give out 1, 2, 3. I think I'll give 1 to Sarge just so he can test it, and then I have 2 more left. If I could find that. Okay. Yeah. Here. This guy. Not only does he grab a line drive out of the air, okay, he's got a kid in his hand and I think a beer. Right? Let's watch this in slow motion. As it comes in, he grabs it barehanded. Boom. Probably broke a finger or 2. Bruised it. Got a hand on a cup. And the kid in his underarm, as the kid's holding on to dear life, as he grabs it, right? I don't know. Maybe he's in a sling. I don't know what's going on there, but gets the ball, holds the kid, and a beer. I mean, get this man a contract. Get this man a contract. Right, there, here's another one. And then there's this guy. Then there's this guy. Okay. Dude with a baby on a sling. Take some points off for the sling. But catches it. Bam. Like, right? Catches it. Got a drink. Cheating a little bit, though. He's got the sling. The other guy had no sling. Bam. Barehanded, though. Barehanded. I think we have one more. This happens more than you think. This happens way more than you think. What is this one? That's the same one. I think that's it. Just those 2. Those kids look a lot alike. What do you think that's the same guy? He just moves around from stadium to stadium. What would the odds? What would the odds be? You think he was protecting his kid? Ball's coming. Ah! Ah! He's like high-fiving the neighbors. They're like, dude's fucking crazy. Caught a ball with barehanded with a kid. Wasn't he thinking of the children? No, he's thinking being legend. Like one time when I was at the baseball game, you were 7 months old. Foul ball came right to your head. I went, bah! Caught that. You owe me your life. That's what dads do. Yeah, saved your life at a baseball game. You were 7 months old. Last time when I went to a ball game, they hit a ball right to my seat as I was leaving. That's a fail. First of all, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving a baseball game before the end of the game? A fail, Jones. Well, Mets fan, we stayed to the very end. At least I do. I stayed to the very end. I stayed to the end of baseball games, football games, basketball games, hockey games, and movies. Because baseball sucks, Travis. He bought a ticket. He went to a baseball game. Traffic in baseball is boring. Oh, man. Yeah, but why would you go to a baseball game? See, I love that. Jones says baseball's boring. Then why did you go? Why did you go? Free tickets from work. It doesn't matter if it's free tickets. If you knew it was boring going in, why did you go? Like, I fucking hate eating this shit. This is good. So boring. Jones, you play 200-hour games that you don't like. You're like Travis with Fallout. I'm sorry. 300. It was 300 hours. Fucking hate this game. 300 hours. I stand by it's a mid game. It's not the point, Travis. You said 300 hours and you hated the game. Thanks, 30. I'm now addicted to RoboQuest. You're welcome. What Jones didn't tell you is that it was an extra inning game and he left in the 15th inning. You know, I'm messing with you guys, right? It's just funny. When someone says, I hate this game, and they put hundreds of hours in, like, I went to a baseball game, and man, it's boring. But you knew it was boring before you went. But it was free. All right, well. At 2,000 hours, boring, don't recommend. You really had to get season tickets to be able to tell me that baseball's boring. If you're not a season ticket holder, then you can't really speak on it, right? That would be the same premise as anybody else talks about. Well, if you didn't play the game, you can't talk about it. Baseball gets really good the 10th season. You gotta watch 10 seasons, and that's when it gets really good. See, I would never go to a baseball game unless you're willing me into a strapped to a gurney. Or if you were 7 months old. You don't know that. It would have been like, little Travis, you want to go to a baseball game? And you're like, okay. They gave you a choice. Could have stayed home with your grandma. Baseball doesn't get good till the 116 game into the season. That's right. Baseball doesn't get good until the playoffs, and if your team's in it. That's it. Like, the 162 games to get to the playoffs is like foreplay. Like, Jesus Christ, can we just move on to the thing that everybody wants to watch? Little Travis sounds like a young Sheldon spinoff. I never watched that show. Never watched that show. There was like a big thing happening at a certain time. There was like young Sheldon. Everybody hates Chris. There was Young Rock or whatever the hell it was called. I know there's gaps in between, but it's like they always do that. They're always like, "Oh, this is a popular show. Why don't we do this?" All right. We got two Avatar stories here. We got one that the future film scripts, and then we have one of the original version. Little Travis sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon. Young Sheldon's a great series. I'll take your word for it. I think I watched Young Sheldon before. It was called Problem Child when I was a kid. But it was in a movie form. If you guys like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button down below. Swansea. Or Dennis the Menace. That's right, Rose. That's another one. Dennis the Menace. I used to love Dennis the Menace. What's the neighbor's name? I can't remember the neighbor's name. Mr. God, I can't remember the neighbor's name. Wilson. That's it. Ah, God damn it. Z just put it in there. I just thought about it. I was like, Wilson. And then I saw it and he said Wilson. I was trying to get my brain. I got there, but it was at the exact same moment that Z put it in chat, so I don't know if I can take full credit for that. Also the name of the neighbor in Tool Time. I wonder if they named him after that. As like a little tip. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft's Avatar dev have been seeing future film scripts. So, while they were making the game, it has been revealed that developers working on Avatar Frontiers Pandora were given exclusive access to the future film scripts from the franchise. This was something made clear by the game director, Magnus Jensen, during the interview of the comicbook.com, who said it was to make sure the ideas weren't essentially cannibalized. Okay. In an interview with Comic Book, Jensen stressed the team working on Frontiers of Pandora had access to some of the upcoming movie scripts from Avatar franchise. It was revealed earlier this year that it was also 4 more movies planned in the series, and Frontier of Pandora was apparently fits quite neatly into the timeline. Here's what he said. He said, quote, "For us to be able to properly fit into the timeline because if we started working on this game before Avatar The Way of the Water was out, yeah, we had access to the scripts, not just Avatar, but The Way of the Water, but also some upcoming movies as well, various amounts, of course. Now, he backed up his explanation by stressing that it was allowed to developers to properly gel with the series and make sure Frontiers of Pandora feels like it's part of the same world. Now, following the sizable revelation, Jensen went on about his business, talking about some of the game's features and some of the Easter eggs and the plan that the players will be able to uncover as they explore the vast open world of Pandora. The full game releases on PlayStation 5. Now, it's a very short article, but what I wanted to kind of go into, I think this could be, and I kind of said this a couple of months ago, I think on GXG I said it. I said, I think this could be the Hogwarts Legacy moment of Avatar, right? So Hogwarts Legacy was not part of Harry Potter, but it was 100 years in front of it, but it fits nicely into that world because of the world building they did, the world around it, the castle. They did a wonderful job of bringing it into the video game form. Now, there's been other Harry Potter games, but Hogwarts Legacy did a really good job, and I said going forward, any type of movie adaptation or anything like that, they should do what they do, what Hogwarts did. Now, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, I feel could be the exact same way because they got the scripts ahead of time and they're making this building this world. Now, obviously, there's the tree inside of Avatar, and the world itself of Pandora is that castle, right? Is Hogwarts Castle. But I kind of think it's not going to land as well. I mean, obviously, Avatar is a very popular franchise in the film industry. Both films that have come out made well over $1 billion, over $2 billion, I believe, is the first movie. And I think the second one either broke it or came close to it. So it's a very popular franchise, but it's not this like franchise that you think of like if when you say Avatar, you don't think of like Lord of the Rings fans or Harry Potter fans or Star Wars fans. You know what I mean? Like those are like big fan bases. I don't think you have like closet Avatar fans that are just like, oh my God, I can't wait. Like Avatar is a good movie, right? It's an okay movie. Okay. I think I appreciate the technology that they've done, but I'm interested to see what Ubisoft and Massive and stuff can do with the Avatar franchise, what they can do since they read the scripts. I don't want it to connect. I don't want it to be a one-to-one, like whatever happens in the game happens in the movies, but it would be nice to go, oh, I saw that in the game. So if you're a person that plays the game and then the new movies come out, you'd be like, oh, I was there. Yeah. I think that little things like that make it that much more interesting. And I think that Hogwarts kind of set that tone for being a part of the franchise, but setting a standard, setting a bar. So like if you watch the movies, play the game, you're like, oh, I've been there. I went there. That's cool. I think that's the same way Avatar can do. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora? Are you excited that you can... Are you an Avatar fan? Are you just a James Cameron fan? Or yesterday, Michael Bay. But James Cameron, are you a James Cameron fan where you're just super excited to get into this world of Avatar or in Pandora and just explore the actual, the grounds and the world that they're building? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Avatar's getting snubbed for Game of the Year. Oh, for next year? You're already calling it? Already calling it, Ron? I'm not playing 76 anymore because shut up, that's why. What was the gang of never showing Wilson's face? What was the gang, or what was the gag of never showing Wilson's face? I was like, oh, in Tool Time? I'm not sure what the actual gag was. Just that maybe it's your neighbor, but you never really know your neighbor, right? Like you know him, but you never really saw his face. I'm not really too sure what the gag was. The first one was good. The second one was okay. Probably have been a better movie if you like cut an hour. Yeah, if you cut an hour, I would say 45 minutes out of that second act, Rose, in Avatar, and I think it would have been a better movie. You take 45 minutes out of that second act, it would have been a better movie. I wish I realized the demo for this game to build the hype. Looks good, but I would pay full. Would I pay full price for it? I think we're a full third person and definitely buy it day one. Yeah, this game doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me. I don't think it's bad, but I'm just not excited about it. And take it how you want, right? But when you show me Just Cause, when you show me a Far Cry, after Far Cry 3, I think it was, I just stopped caring, right? And I look at this and I'm not excited. I think it could be cool for people that like Avatar, but I'm not excited for it. Maybe I play it, maybe I don't, but I'm not excited for it. A Redfall movie would be cool, but make it 30 frames per second. You know, Redfall movie has been done, basically. I mean, there's been tons of vampire movies. But the movies are usually 24 frames per second, but, you know. Not only paying full price, but the Steelbook Gold Edition at $130. Reminds me of the Primal, a.k.a. the best Far Cry, well, in 4. I stopped playing Far Cry after 3. Far Cry, to me, kind of... Again, I'm not saying anything against it. For me, it looked samey. It just looked the same thing. It's like Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft does this with a lot of their games, right? A lot of their franchises, they just kind of blend in together. Jones says the 24 frames kills me sometimes. Well, if you watch a lot of stuff if you watch a lot of digital stuff that's at 60 frames per second, right? Then it would ruin you to go back to 24 frames. I wear a shirt sometimes that says 24 frames. Like that's what I love. I love 24 frames cinema. Is Modern Warfare 3 out? Because I'm not hearing any buzz about it. That's either because there's really nothing too wrong with it, and it's just Call of Duty. Did you hear anything about Madden? Did you hear a lot of stuff about Madden? Did you hear a lot of stuff about FIFA? Just another FIFA. Just another Madden. Just another Call of Duty. What's so special about 24 frames? I mean, that's what I like for film. I mean, I grew up making films. I was in the 24 frames, 30 frames, 60 frames. Like it's too clean. I don't like if you watch The Hobbit. The Hobbit looks like a television show. I don't like it. Okay? I like the graininess. I just love it. 24 frames is a far superior medium for film. Everybody likes the new stuff because it's just easier to work with, right? It's basically because of technology. It's basically because of technology. Back in the day, you had to take the film. You filmed your film, then you had to go and expose your film, and then you had to cut your actual film and then piece it together. It was like an art. It was an art form already, just to like when you take an edit now and you're slicing the little video clips that I do every day, like that you had to do with physical scissors and then tape them together and then put it together and like had to sit there looking through each of the stuff. It was an art form, and it was a much better. Right? This is why people were given awards for stuff like that. Then you look at what's happening now, and they just throw digital stuff in and they shoot everything. There's no artistic vision anymore. They literally shoot everything. Before you had to pre-production plan what you were going to shoot only what you wanted. And now you can just shoot whatever you want. Shoot everything you want. Yeah, I said I like it because that's what I worked with. I love the format. I love the graininess of it. I love the way it looks. What would you like me to say about why I like 24 frames? Digital media, the reason you need CGI is because people don't do practical anymore. If you did practical with the high-end stuff, you would see that it looks fake. But with 24 frames with film, okay, you can do practical effects and stuff looks real. There's many reasons why they still use it. One, they're using it just because, like, why do they still print vinyls? Why does people still make vinyls? Because some people say it's a better quality. They love that sound a record makes, right? They still say it's the best sound quality. There's other things that people still used film, and then it gets scanned in, then it becomes digital, and then they edit it within the stuff, right? I don't even think there's any. I don't want to say there's no film houses, but there's very few film houses that are actually editing film anymore. It was actually the worst Far Cry in my opinion, because what the hell with the whole here's this guy named Holt out of nowhere. I mean, it's not my favorite, but that's the last one I played. That's the last one that kind of broke the camel's back for me. I was just like, yeah, I'm good. Has there been a choose your own adventure film released in theaters? I want to say there was. No, not a true like choose your own adventure. It was more of like alternate. I mean, Clue, when it was in theaters, you had to go see it multiple times in different theaters to get all the endings. Until later, when it came out on tape and disc later, where you could see all the endings. Not sure if there's ever been a. I worked on a interactive movie on your. It was made for a phone. I don't know what it came out when it was called, but we filmed an interactive film where we filmed a couple different scenes, right? So we would make a scene, and then we filmed it where there would be like a gun on the table, right? And then we would shoot the gun, like the guy grabbing the gun and then shooting the gun and then killing the person. And then there was a suitcase on the table, and you could open up the suitcase, right, and take the money, type of stuff, right? So there was like an interactive. We did some experimental stuff with like YouTube and interactive stuff on YouTube. This was back in like 2007, 2008. Where we actually filmed something and then had multiple scenes. It was like a club scene. You would walk into the club, and then there would be like 3 people standing at the door. Like when you walked in, you could talk to the girl, you could talk to the manager, you could talk to the waiter, and then you would click on the screen. You know how like the next video, at the end of the video when you're watching on YouTube, would be highlighted. You would be able to click one of the options, and then it would continue on to the show. So that was like a sort of like a choose your. I don't think there's ever done anything like that per se in film, because how would you do it? Would the audience pick up a controller and vote? I mean, how would that work? I'm sure there's been places, but not anything like mass release. You could do something like that on Netflix. That would actually be pretty cool if they did something like that on Netflix. Because you have your controller, your phone that you could operate and like pick and choose, like a little button pops up. That might be an interesting. That would be an interesting medium to do. It would kind of be a little hard, though, while you're in the theater. Because then people would be voting while they're watching a film. So you would have to have something where it's on the film you're watching, and then all of a sudden something small on the screen would pop up, vote now, A, B, or C, and you would pick, and then the majority of the audience would sway what they want to see. That would be pretty interesting. They're doing a Silent Hill that way. It's getting universally hated. Really? How about a full-length movie with the video game sections where you use a controller? That's called a PlayStation game. Like God of War, Last of Us, Horizon, Spider-Man. That's basically what that is, Ron. Yeah, it would be like built into your chair or something, Robert. Might be interesting. All right, go to the next Avatar story. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the original version or vision of for Avatar Frontier Pandora was very different. Okay, this article says the action-packed possibilities of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora might have seemed like they were... Let me start again. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the original vision of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was very different. So the action-packed possibilities of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora might seem a little obvious path of the upcoming game to take, but it turns out that early concepts were substantially different. Developer of Massive Entertainment and published by Ubisoft, an open-world title takes the world of Pandora from James Cameron's Avatar films, showing things from perspective of the protagonist, raised by the human colonists of RDA, exploring a planet accompanied by a brand of action segments of Ubisoft is known for, with opportunities of infiltration of destruction, and that can also be accompanied by the Na'vi and human weapons alike. A focus on the high-octane spectacle isn't particularly surprising for Avatar, as the silver screen experience are full of show-stopping action sequences. At the time, the world of Pandora features a beautiful level of detail of flora and fauna, and now also helps with the truly stand apart from the crowd's blockbuster scenes. An exclusive Screen Rant interview with John, producer of Avatar films, revealed that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was originally conceived with a different balance of action in mind. Now, the first question was, John Lindau says, look, I think we got into the game initially and we were thinking of maybe it would be a little bit less action. Screen Rants asked again. He says, John said more culturally exploration without really a purpose, and it just didn't fit into the gaming model that we've retained enough as we were talking about and cooking. What game has cooking? Well, it's going back to what we started with. So it maintained, but we are now picked up the pace of our action and all of that. But the player still is also the opportunity to go. He says, quote, I don't want the action in this moment. I just want to explore. I want to explore Pandora. I want to reward itself and satisfaction of doing that. Like I said to someone earlier, I could fly my Banshee 50 kilometers away, land in a place and no one has ever been before, and I'm creating my own story. I'm not following a story that someone else has told me to follow. I'm following my own story and creating a story that I'm looking around the world, and I don't know if someone's been here before. Oh, so RDA was also here before. Oh, and I know that. Maybe where I land is also the trees that I destroyed. Maybe they're not. Maybe there's a base where I was abandoned, or maybe there was a base that I have to have a confrontation with. You know, these things, but to create your own story. He says, although it might not have diverged from a AAA video game norm, a version of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora with less of an action focus could still have been an engaging game. If any of the environment of the blockbuster movie deserves exploration and focus experience, it's probably Pandora. Even with the lack of gunplay, might have diverted some of the segments of potential audience. Luckily, it sounds like the final game maintains a healthy dose of the original idea. Lindau also emphasizes the possibilities of putting in off of any given action mission to strike out with the sole purpose of discovering. The Banshee that Lindau mentions is a big part of the scene's exploration in Avatar's Frontiers of Pandora gameplay, making it easy to survey the world in the air and all right in the new areas without having to make a long trek. Navigation likewise emphasizes the value of discovery, with the options of abandon traditional map pointers to seek out objectives by finding landmarks, and Lindau describes the possible clues of the RDA, which could also have a visited of any area points of general use of environmental storytelling that can make pay attention of details of Pandora feels rewarding. So Ubisoft is no stranger to creating a vibrant settings and historical lands of Assassin's Creed franchise, standing a particularly strong example of how much games can benefit from engaging locals. In Frontiers of Pandora, we can craft in the world successfully, and it could also be easy to spend hours of just getting lost and appreciating everything in the wilderness that offers. If interesting to think about what could have been if the game is kept on focusing on this aspect, but Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is going to feature plenty of action as well. So here's my thoughts. I mean, if you guys are watching this video, or if you're here live, okay, I just had another video about Pandora, and I said that this could be like the Hogwarts legacy of Avatar. And I think them changing it sounds much better, because I don't know if I want to play a game. I don't even know if I want to play this game, to be honest with you. But I don't know if I would want to play a game where there's no really action and you're just kind of exploring. Now, it would be a completely different game if I could explore a world with other people. But if I was by myself and I couldn't explore with other people, you kind of get like a No Man's Sky feel, where it's cool in the beginning, but then it kind of gets a little boring because you're by yourself and you're just exploring and going, oh, cool, fauna, you know, plants, animals, great. So I think this is a good decision, because the action that we saw, the first person actual footage actually looks pretty good. I kind of wish that, obviously, it's their choice. They wanted to make a first person. I kind of wish they made it first person, third person. But they decided to make it a first-person game when you're the Avatar, and then when you're on a Banshee, it's in third person, because I think you kind of get motion sickness if you were in first person while you're on the Banshee. So overall, I think this is actually a good choice they did, where it's more action and story-driven, because if it was just open-ended and you could just go where you want, now there's a difference. If there's a story in the game and you can still explore where you want to go, but there's that hand-holding experience where, hey, I'm exploring, I'm kind of done with this, I want to go explore the actual world, but now I actually want to go action. So it's like, go do some side quests, and then go do the action shooty-looty type of stuff. Even though it's not a shooter-looter, but you know what I'm saying. Like, do the storyline, go kill some things, grab a new weapon, go progress the story. I think that's a much better, you know, recipe than just lolly-da, go around exploring Pandora, because in that world, you might as well make it a VR game where you're just exploring and you feel like you're in the world of Pandora. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora? Are you excited to go play this action-packed game mixed in with a little bit of, you know, scavenger and exploration? Or were you looking for more of a linear type of storytelling where you just take the A to B to C to D? Let me know in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, let's see here. So it sounds like it was originally going to be an exploration game. Right. And it looks like they changed it along the way. I think it's a smarter choice. Again, I haven't seen a lot of this game. Heck, even Oregon Trail had action. No, the original Oregon Trail didn't have any action. Except if, like, little Timmy had, died or drowned in the water. I don't know if that would really be called action. Just typing. Most of the stuff I test, Akuda says, is under NDA because the alpha or early beta, everything is closed. I can only post relevant forums and people testing have access to. Yeah, I do stuff like that as well. I play a lot of games behind the scenes that I can't disclose either. Oh, I see what you're saying, Travis. Yeah, we had to go hunt for the food. Kylo says, I like Avatar, but I could care less about the Far Cry with an Avatar skin over it. Here's what I'll say with that, right? I say this all the time. If Destiny, you like Destiny, right? But if Destiny came out and it was Transformers or it was Star Wars, same exact game, but with a skin on top of Destiny, I would like Destiny more. You see what I'm saying? Like, I would like that Destiny with Star Wars than just Destiny because of the IP. So if Far Cry is a brand of video game, but Avatar is a much bigger brand than Far Cry, money value, and people know what Avatar is, if they took Far Cry and then skinned it with Avatar, it might be a better Far Cry. Right? So I don't know what to say that if that's a dig on Avatar because it looks like Far Cry. Because, again, if a game is a game and it's got a good brand behind it, it might be a better game than the original game because people might not care about Far Cry, even though Far Cry sold very well. Maybe Avatar sells better because more people are interested in Avatar than they were in Far Cry. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just to say that a skin over something makes a game better because the brand is known better. Doesn't mean it'll be successful. I'm just saying that it could be better. It would be an awesome game, remake of Oregon Trail with the cowboys, robbery, survival elements. Well, basically, you would just be making Rockstar, right? You would just be making Red Dead Redemption. Right, Water. That's right. That would be like Red Dead, though. Right, exactly. A little excited about this game, but I'm a Far Cry fan. But here's the thing, Quintar, are you a Avatar fan? The dude says first red flag the game has is that it's a Ubisoft game. I will say it's a little weird, the dude, because they haven't really pushed or advertised this game a lot, right? It's coming out, doesn't it come out like next week? And now maybe I'm not seeing it because I don't really see ads and stuff on YouTube, but I don't really hear a big buzz of this game. It's dropping next week. Doesn't it come out like December 5th? I like Far Cry, but they have all felt the same since 3. That you're in the same boat as me, Kylo. You're the same boat as me. I just feel like it's the same game, but Ubisoft has that MO of that, right? Division 3 might come out, and it might just feel the same as Division 1 and 2. It's just more Division. And is that a bad thing? I don't know. I just kind of over it after a certain period of time, right? I enjoyed Far Cry 1, 2, and 3, but at the end of 3, I was like, I think I'm done with this. Assassin's Creed, I was fine with Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood, and after Brotherhood, I was like, I think I'm done with Assassin's Creed. 7th of December, there you go. Well, I think this is only coming out on PC, and is it coming out on Xbox? I don't even know if it's coming to Xbox. Is Pandora coming to Xbox? Yeah, it is. Okay. Xbox Series X, S, Amazon Luna, Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 5. Who knows? Maybe I'll pick it up. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing, though, Rose, right? I think a lot of people stick with the plan. Like, if you have something that makes a lot of money for you, maybe not all the money for you, but makes a good amount of money for you, why not just stick with it? It's in Ubisoft's Pass. Oh, so you could pay, what, the $14 for the month and try it out? That might be a thing. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll pick it up because I don't have anything. Because I was gonna play Space Marines 2, but that's not coming out this year. That's not a bad choice. Maybe I'll do Ubisoft Plus for the month. I can always go back to Destiny. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. All humans have set patterns. I don't want to say all humans, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Not a past user, but the option was there when I purchased it. So does it come out early? Does it come out like 3 days early if you buy like the preload or whatever, or does it just come out on the 7th? Play day 1 with Ubisoft Plus, starting at $15 a month. Unfold the epic wonders of the Western frontier. You just got to look at how easy it is to cancel. They always do a little trick, right? You're like, I can't find the cancel button. Come on, Salty. The buzz for Avatar is it's $12 to play for the month. Yeah, I just don't think of Like, look, let's see. Let's see. Is it popular? Like, I don't feel like it's popular. How can I tell? Yeah, I'm looking at it's starting to do the news cycle, right? It's starting to do the news cycle as, you know, reports come out, but they're all about the same thing. They're all about the movie script thing. They're all about the movie script. Not about the actual game itself. Go YouTube real fast. See how many, let me see how many things are talking about it on YouTube. Four weeks ago, 2 months ago, 11 days ago, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 11 days ago. I'm the only one talking about it right now. Hold on, filters. Let's see. Today. One day, everything you need to know. 1 hour ago, 23 hours ago, 20 minutes ago. Top new games, internet connection console. Yeah, there's not a lot talking about it. GameSpot has a thing.
Over a decade in the making, latest installment in James Cameron's sci-fi pentalogy, an open-world RPG game set between the first Avatar movie and its sequel, The Way of Water, is coming to gamers by the way of Ubisoft, which is actually the publisher's second Avatar game. More on that later. From its story to gameplay and release date, here's everything to know about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Everything you need to know.
For those unfamiliar entirely with the world of Avatar, which is like 10 people based off of the franchise's box office numbers, the series revolves around Pandora, a habitable and often extremely hostile moon in Alpha Centauri, the closest star system to our own. Pandora is host to a myriad of extraterrestrial flora and fauna.
Here's where I think they kind of messed up on this game, just a little bit. I think it would have been cool if you could pick either the humans or the Na'vi, right? The Na'vi or the humans.
The Na'vi being at the center of its world and story. These humanoid creatures are blue, 10 feet tall, and connect to other life forms via tendrils in the tips of their braided hair. The first Avatar movie shows the beginnings of a war between humanity and the Na'vi. Humans first land on the moon in the mid-22nd century in the form of the Resources Development Administration. The RDA plans to mine a critical mineral on Pandora.
Water says Alpha Centauri. So it's in the same universe as Starfield? Cross promotion I see is happening soon. Water DLC Avatar Pandora.
Called unobtainium. Yes, that's what it's still really called, in order to help save Earth, which itself is fresh out of all its own resources. As you can imagine, the Na'vi aren't too happy with this plan. In order to better communicate and negotiate with the native inhabitants, the RDA creates avatars, human Na'vi hybrids that its scientists and military units can temporarily embody. The protagonist of the first film, Jake Sully, is a former soldier who takes over the avatar of his recently deceased twin brother, initially tasked with gaining intel.
I don't think so, Eclipse. I think we just read an article that said that Avatar was supposed to be like an exploration game. So I don't know if that would be a Division type game.
On the Na'vi, Jake ultimately sides with them and helps lead the counteroffensive as the RDA pushes further into Pandora. The first movie ends with Jake transferring his consciousness permanently into his avatar body, and the Na'vi, along with a few human allies, send the RDA packing, but not without a warning. They will return. Frontiers of Pandora
Can I just back up a second? This is what I don't like. We're talking about 24 frames per second and whatnot. Look at this scene, right? Look at the scene.
RDA.
You can see a definitive line between what's the backdrop is fake and the people in the foreground, and like you can just see how it is. That's what I hate. What I hate about new filmmaking.
Not without a warning. They will return. Frontiers of Pandora focuses on a region that hasn't been explored in either film, the Western Frontier, and focuses on a Na'vi that is kidnapped as a child by the RDA and trained to become a weapon for humanity. When the RDA is kicked off of Pandora at the end of the first movie, the young Na'vi is put in cryosleep. They awaken 15 years later.
I think it's going to be kind of a mix, right? I think you're going to have like an Assassin's Creed type of Far Cry feel to it. They're going to take whatever they learned from all other Ubisoft games and kind of throw it into this game.
Are reunited with their species and join the fight against the recently returned RDA, the arrival of which is depicted in the opening moments of the second film, The Way of Water. Believe it or not, this is not Ubisoft's first Avatar game. Over a decade ago, Ubisoft's Montreal studio tackled a prequel title set 2 years before the first film.
I played this. Not very good.
GameSpot gave the game a 5.5 out of 10, with reviewer Kevin Van Ord stating, "It's not a bad game, and portions of it are competent, if not quite remarkable."
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was not good.
But Avatar wears thin quickly, and the story is too fragile to compensate for the deficiencies. This time around, Frontiers of Pandora is being handled by the Division series developer Massive Entertainment, and is built off of the latest version of that series' Snowdrop engine. A prototype
Great engine. Great engine, the Snowdrop engine.
of what the game could potentially be was used to woo James Cameron into approving the project, officially announced in early 2017, which at the time was a little over a year before The Way of Water was meant to release. Needless to say, the movie didn't hit that release date. While Massive's Division games are set from a third-person perspective,
I will state this, and maybe I'll make a video of this. I do like Massive. I'm very excited about Massive. I like Division. Love Division 2. I'm excited about Division 3, right? I'm excited about Massive working on the Star Wars Outlaws. And they made this, right? I think Massive right now could be one of the better developer studios out there in the last 5 years to a decade, right? They make really good games.
Frontiers of Pandora is first person. This decision was made to make the player feel closer to Pandora. The game's creative director Magnus Jansen previously explained that the world of Pandora is so reactive that first person gives the game a more tactile and more immersive feel. Frontiers of Pandora is not the only game based on a Disney property that
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Massive is working on. The studio is also tackling Star Wars Outlaws, set to release in 2024. It was reportedly Massive's work on its Avatar title that impressed the House of Mouse enough to give it a shot at working on Star Wars.
Like what they're doing, Massive, what they're doing, okay, is almost like what Insomniac's doing, right? With Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man and Wolverine. Like what that company does, Insomniac is hitting on all cylinders. I think Massive right now could be that competitor that's up there with them. Like they're a really good studio.
Players can customize and explore the open world with their Na'vi character. As previously mentioned, the game is first person but shifts to third person when riding two different mounts. The first is a flying mount called the Ikran, which has its own skill tree and is used to get from location to location quickly, including hard to reach places such as the floating mountains. Players can leap off the Ikran mid-flight and use it seamlessly when going from ground to air mid-combat. The second is the Dire Horse, which can be ridden across the land. There are three major biomes in the game: the Kinglaw Rainforest, the Upper Plains,
I kind of agree with that. I wish they did a third person.
and the Clouded Forest. To help navigate the world, the player has Na'vi vision in place of a traditional minimap, which will highlight important elements in the world, including pinned resources such as animals for hunting, crafting ingredients like plants, and objective destinations. Combat and fast movement are at the heart of Frontiers of Pandora's gameplay. Thanks to a mix of both Na'vi and human training, the player can utilize weapons from both races' arsenals, with guns on the human side and bows, spears, and homebrewed
Well, it can be Game of the Year, Travis, just next year.
nature grenades from the Na'vi. While the latter may seem underwhelming compared to the former, remember, you're playing a 10-foot tall humanoid cat alien. Those bows pack a punch and will serve you better when trying to approach a situation stealthily. You can also use a hacking tool to interface with RDA bases or temporarily disable RDA amp suits. In traditional Ubisoft open world fashion, that upgraded gear comes in handy as you clear enemy outposts, especially with the need to craft specialized ammo and healing items.
We all know that Star Wars Outlaws, if Grand Theft Auto comes out next year, I don't think it has a shot.
Mid-battle. There's an extensive gear system with different rarities that you'd expect from a massive game. Clearing outposts will help heal the world of Pandora, opening up new resources for you to use in crafting. Some more rare plant and animal ingredients only appear at certain times of day and during different weather conditions. There is also an upgrade tree, which is accessible by connecting with Awa, the Na'vi's goddess that connects all living things on Pandora. In the lore of the films, this connection allows a Na'vi to view the memories of the deceased, and this provides access to the player's 5 upgrade paths. Hunter unlocks better tracking abilities, Maker improves crafting skills, Rider allows players to upgrade their Ikran, Survivor modifies health and inventory, and Warrior raises weapon proficiency. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora will release on December 7th, 2023 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC for $70. Pre-ordering any edition of the game will grant the player the Child of Two Worlds cosmetic pack, including an exclusive outfit and weapon skin. The game will also be available as a part of UBISOFT'S, which costs $15 a month. The Gold Edition retails for $120 and includes a steelbook case, cosmetics for your character and Ikran, and access to 2 DLC expansions that are planned for 2024.
That's interesting.
Ikran
So they have
access to 2 DLC expansions that are
They have a season pass. I didn't know that. They have a season pass. Makes sense to be on the Ubisoft Plus now. So you come back for it. Bonus quest, 1 quest, story pack, and story pack 2. So that's interesting. So they're really pushing. I mean, I knew Ubisoft was. I didn't know Pandora was doing the season pass thing.
planned for 2024. The Ultimate Edition, which is digital only and $130, includes everything in the Gold Edition, minus the steelbook case of course, plus some additional cosmetics. And finally, the game's Collector's Edition at $230 includes...
All right, who bought it? Who bought it? Anyone? Anyone? Back? You? You? No? All right.
a bunch of physical goodies, with the main attraction being a Na'vi statue, as well as everything in the Ultimate Edition. And that's everything to know about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. For more impressions, check out our hands-on preview, sit tight for our eventual review, and for everything else Na'vi, stay tuned.
I mean, it looks good. It does. It does look good. Let me see if they have another. Let's see. Hands-on. Did they have a hands-on? They said they did. I don't see it. Four weeks ago. Did we watch this? Let's watch
Open world games often benefit from putting players in the middle of wars and revolutions, fought across lush and fascinating worlds.
Since no one's talking about it, I'll talk about it.
Of nearly everything and must be pushed back inch by inch. Ubisoft often utilizes this formula for its open world games, which usually feature huge and gorgeous
This is like
worlds
4 weeks
where you're
ago.
fighting
Sorry.
powerful,
Muted myself.
entrenched military enemies. The harsh but beautiful alien moon of Pandora, the setting of the Avatar films, is a near-perfect fit for this approach. What's most interesting about Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is that it might give developer Massive Entertainment an opportunity to improve the Ubisoft open world formula at a time when the genre is inspiring more than a little fatigue.
We must bring the fight to them.
We played about 2.5 hours of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and at first glance it fits pretty neatly into the established canon of Ubisoft open world games. You run around completing quests, gathering plants and hunting animals for crafting, and capturing bases to free the areas surrounding them from enemy control. The surface level aspect feels a lot like the Far Cry series, but with a few RPG focused tidbits
I mean, he says it feels like Far Cry.
of Massive's Division games, plus aliens. Massive and lush world of Pandora does a lot to make Frontier stand apart from the rest of the Ubisoft catalog though. It's a gorgeous world full of weird flora and fauna, and it's nice to have a new, unknown place to explore. Frontiers of Pandora tells its own story that's independent from the movies, but the basic setup is the same. You take on the role of one of the Na'vi, the indigenous race that lives on Pandora, as you fight off the invading human forces of the industrialized RDA. The whole story takes place on the western frontier, a continent that hasn't previously appeared in any Avatar stories, shortly before the events of Avatar: The Way of Water. Our hands-on time with
So this takes place between 1 and 2.
Frontiers of Pandora focused on a few story quests that helped give a sense of how you'll interact with the world. There's a not quite parkour feel to being a Na'vi. You're bigger than a normal human and can clamber and leap over rocks and trees to maintain your speed. There are lots of opportunities to climb rocks and trees everywhere, and you can charge up a jump for decent height, while also using a little air dash to cover gaps. It's basically a triple jump. Finding your way around is done with Na'vi vision, which highlights creators and
And maybe you'll come across them. Water.
certain elements in the world around you, while also briefly highlighting your destination points. Quest objectives describe locations by their names and give you direct
Whereas, like, can I take my little ponytail with the lady Navi and then weird ponytail sex minigame in it? Maybe.
directions using landmarks and compass points, with a focus on pushing you to rely on checking an in-game map to get the gist of where you're heading, and exploring along the way. It's a little confusing at first, especially as you try to acclimate yourself to the different areas and landmarks of an unfamiliar landscape. We found that it was easy to get turned around and lost at times, or to overshoot a destination and have to spend a few minutes staring at the map to reorientate. Na'vi Vision also lets you mark plants and creatures to gain information about them, which you can add to a Hunter Compendium menu. Reading up on ingredients and animals gives you the information about where they congregate and how to find them, and even lets you highlight them in Na'vi Vision, making it easier to find what you need. Plants and animals have different rarity levels, which can fluctuate on the day-night cycle and even weather, so there's a lot to keep track of to get things that you might need. In general, Frontiers of Pandora uses Na'vi Vision to emphasize spending your time in its alien world, rather than just pointing you towards the next navigation point or filling your screen with icons to chase down.
Well, hold on a second. I'm confused. He just said about the Naive view system, right? To let you know where you need to go, but what's the green marker? You guys, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's literally a marker on the. Let me rewind this for a second.
Rather than just pointing you towards the next navigation point or filling your screen with icons to chase down. In one quest, we were tasked with finding a missing RDA defector who crashed a VTOL as he tried to bring medical supplies to the Na'vi resistance. Locating him was a multi-stage affair that required us
Like they say that they're not pointing you in the direction at like the traditional like marker on the screen, but there's literally a marker on the screen. So I'm confused. So, do you have to use your vision to look where you're going, or is it just a normal game?
to find his crash site, clear out the RDA who
Yeah, it's a compass, but it literally shows you the green marker up on top after they said that All right, whatever.
were also searching for him and then investigate the crash yourself. There's a bit of detective work here. I needed to find and select different objects in the crash site, like a parachute tangled in a tree, a ripped up
It's exactly what I was thinking, Rose. The Batman Arkham vision, right?
flight suit, or the VTOL itself, and connect the pieces of evidence that go together so my character could draw conclusions. Once I figured out what happened, my character made the inference that the defector was injured and trailing a certain scent from.
Here's the thing. If I have to do, what was the other game I did this? Where you see like the breadcrumb trail. We just had it. What game was this? Was it Hogwarts? Where you have that little vision and you have that trail that's happening? What game was it? No, we literally played it. We played it on stream this year. Was it Starfield? Oh, Starfield does have a little marker when you. It was another game though. But that's basically what it is. Like you have to go. Like this game is beautiful, right? This game is beautiful, but you have to go into this like vision, so you can follow the breadcrumb trail
to patch himself up.
Right?
I could then use Navi vision to see the scent trail and follow it. These aren't elements that I exactly knew.
That to me is not like groundbreaking in any way. I'm not making fun of the game, but like this is my biggest problem with Arkham. When I played Batman back in the day, I was like, "Oh, it's fantastic! Look how great this looks." But you're in X-ray vision the entire time.
New or unheard of in open world games.
Same with Investigation and Gotham Knights. Bacon, yeah.
But Frontiers of Pandora deploys them with the effort to make you feel like you're a hunter in the forest whose understanding of how this world works gives you an edge. And it's refreshing that you're asked to think through these puzzles, rather than just look for the next icon or quest objective. The slightly less signposted nature of Frontiers of Pandora tends to work in its favor. One of the quests in the previous session put me in an extremely Avatar scenario, finding and bonding with a Ikran, one of the flying creatures the Na'vi used to get around. The mission required climbing into the islands that float above Pandora's landscape, with the occasional need to solve puzzles in order to find the path forward. These include finding big paddle-like leaves that launch me across large gaps and opening pathways blocked by huge shell-like.
That's a door right there. All right, that purple flower is a door. And the only way you can get into that, look, I'm gonna break this down for you right now. Right? You gotta hit these purple flowers where these roots go, and you gotta find all the roots where they go, and you have to hit like all three of them.
Shell-like plants.
So the door opens,
These
right?
shell-like plants required me to follow vines around the environment to reach leaves that I could activate, which then eventually remove what's blocking the way. The demo we
Yeah, there you go.
played didn't provide any explanation as to how to solve these puzzles, which instead suggested you'll need to rely on your wits and your Na'vi vision to figure out how to proceed. Like the navigation, but the reliance on finding your way helps to highlight the feeling of having the special abilities and connection to the world that the Na'vi enjoy. The question overall is how well these attempts to get you immersed in Pandora actually work, which is tough to tell with just a short look at the game. Our experience for those couple of hours in Frontiers of Pandora was that
Nobody forgets that Batman was in Detective Comics, Travis. What I'm saying is they make a beautiful game with the graphics the way they are, okay? And then when you play that game, you're in X-ray vision 80% of the time. If that's the case, I would have rather the game be in X-ray vision, and then when I hit outside of X-ray vision, I see the beautiful graphics.
getting lost was something that could happen frequently, and that the game often asks you to track down some small plant or object that can be tough to locate in its incredibly dense world. That could be pretty frustrating, since there seem to be a huge amount of plants and animals you'll use as crafting materials. We didn't spend much time with the crafting system though, and the lack of understanding about how best to navigate and find important materials could also just be a function of dropping into the game in a middle point, rather than getting tutorials.
I wonder if you're going to hit the boundaries in this game. I can't wait for someone to run across Pandora from one side to the next and go, I hit a boundary.
Tutorialized in the early going the way a player normally would. Once I'd bonded with an Ikran, I was able to call it whenever I wanted, which helps make the huge world of Pandora feel manageable. It also offers you some cool abilities to use in combat, which puts a heavy emphasis on speed, maneuverability, and unconventional attack angles. As a Na'vi fighter, you're fast and powerful, but you're still vulnerable to the bullets and bombs of the RDA, who have no chill. You might be physically superior and quite a bit bigger than any human you might run up against, but they're packing VTOLs, mech suits, and assault rifles. The fact that you're outgunned and powerful but not invincible provides an incentive to think about how you approach fights in Frontiers of Pandora. You can always go in guns blazing, but at least in the quest that we played that sends you to clear out an industrial RDA base, stealth and hit and run tactics seem like better options. Stealth in Ubisoft open world games is always an option, but not strictly necessary, often because you're usually so well armed that you can smash through just about any group of soldiers that decides to mess with you. Here, your relative squishiness brings a feeling that being sneaky and smart is as important to staying alive as being a crack shot. We played a story quest that introduced taking down bases, but as in other open world games, you'll also encounter them as you wander the world, and can take them on whenever you want, assuming you have the right gear level. Some bases are well above what
The right gear level. Okay.
you can handle, and your character will even call out the need to prepare before approaching them. RDA bases pollute the area around them, enraging or killing wildlife, and generally sucking the color out of Pandora, and you can only clear it up by destroying the base outright. That usually means heading inside and flipping a few switches scattered around the place to cause it to overload. Of course, all the RDA bases are full of enemies, and getting spotted will lead to alarms that put everyone on alert and draw reinforcements. Sneaking and combat feel pretty similar to other Ubisoft games in the genre. Enemies have indicators that let you know when you've been spotted.
You know what I think is funny? You're there to protect the wildlife, but you're going to blow up a base that's going to be on fire in the middle of a forest. I'm sure that's not going to spread.
It's possible to lose people if you break line of sight and hide, and you carry a bow that can kill RDA troops silently so their buddies don't notice. Getting spotted, though, really highlighted how Frontiers of Pandora's systems come together. Running, jumping, and climbing around are essential for staying alive, and while you're fighting mechs and other mechanical enemies, they also go down pretty quickly, so you never feel
think
like
about
you're
it.
overwhelmed
I
by
won't.
fighting bullet sponges that outclass you in survivability. Mechs and other enemies can be destroyed with well-placed shots to their fuel tanks as well, so there's a skill component that's a great pairing with the need to keep moving and using cover and climbing to get the advantage on the RDA. There are a surprising number of ways to take down mech suits, including breaking the glass cockpit with a heavy bow to get to the pilot, triggering environmental hazards to take
If I can't jump on them and just stab them through the thing, I'm out.
them down, or hacking a few of them and then executing a disabling command.
That's
Our
brutal.
hands-on time provided a decent look at Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and what we saw was promising. It generally feels like Massive is using the Avatar license as a chance to expand on the usual Ubisoft approach to open world games. A lot of the usual formula elements are present, but with an effort to move away from the hand-holding nature of many of those games. At its most heightened moments, that approach works pretty well, with Frontiers of Pandora providing some fun, fast-paced action and a beautiful world to explore. The question is whether a huge open world can operate without all those hand-holdy user interface elements and navigation icons. And while ideas like the Na'vi vision feel like a step in the right direction, they might offer
Sarge, you don't pay attention. I told you that like 2 weeks ago.
a different kind of hand-holding instead of less. A kind that requires you to just hold down a button to see what you're supposed to do, rather than having it superimposed on the screen at all times. But Avatar Frontiers of Pandora takes place in a huge, gorgeous, and strange world. And if it can strike the right balance in helping you explore it without telling you how to do so, it could be a pretty exciting new frontier in open world games.
All right, well, we're gonna play this. Thank you, Ubisoft Plus. We're gonna try it out. Why not? We'll give them $14 for the month to play the game. Why not? Thanks, Ubi Plus. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about today. Well, actually, there's two things. I was going to talk about the Marvels plummeting, but that doesn't really belong on this channel, so I'm going to change the thumbnail and whatnot. But we're going to talk about Digital Foundry, right? Digital Foundry has a video on the Portal. And everybody, I haven't watched this yet, right? Everybody loves Digital Foundry. Is like God's gift to all things, right? So reviews, people just quote them and stuff. So let's watch this and see what he says about the PlayStation Portal.
PlayStation Portal. I've been using it for around a week now, and it's a kind of curious device and a tricky one to review because the experience you're likely to get from it as a user can vary drastically. I've seen people on social media describing it as being amazing, lag-free with amazing image quality, but equally I've seen others posting video with jerky, artifact-ridden gameplay. And here's the thing, I'd say that all of those experiences are likely to be equally valid. I think this is quite a contentious hardware release actually, because it's one of the first pieces of console equipment I've tested where the platform holder, in this case Sony, cannot actually guarantee that everyone is going to get the same experience when they use it. And I'd say that that's actually quite problematic personally. Allow me to explain. At the base
It's fine. It's fine. It's only $200.
level, the PlayStation Portal is not a console or a gaming handheld of any description in the traditional sense. It's a streaming device tapping into Sony's existing remote play feature that's baked into PlayStation 5. It's also a streamer that doesn't connect directly to the console itself. In fact, talking to your router or router over Wi-Fi. So depending on how your console is connected to your router and depending on myriad other factors like how close the portal is to the router, what Wi-Fi traffic is like in the area, that kind of thing, you can actually get very different experiences from the exact same piece of hardware. So to begin with, let's establish the very best way to get PlayStation Portal working nicely. That begins with your PlayStation.
You got to make sure you're right next to your router. Like if you're playing next to your router, get a really long router cable and then put it next to your couch while you're sitting there.
PlayStation 5 itself, it should be hardwired to your router via a LAN cable. You see, there are two steps to data transfer between Portal and console. Firstly, the console communicates with your router, then data is beamed out over Wi-Fi to the Portal. By hardwiring the console to the router, you cut out one stage that could potentially increase latency and
I have a question. Who's got a PlayStation that's not hardwired into their router? Why would you do Wi-Fi if you're right next to... You would always put your system... Well, I guess not. I mean, I do. I have all my systems plugged directly into
data loss because Wi-Fi connections are simply not as reliable as wired connections, simple as. Secondly, you should aim to have your Portal as close to your Wi-Fi router as possible for it to get the strongest signal. If you can't do all of these things, the Portal experience will inevitably degrade to a certain degree. It's just physics. So I can
At router for the win.
Consider this device as cool for playing PlayStation, but it kind of has to be in the same room as both the console and the router. Now, there's nothing stopping you from trying to run the Portal anywhere you want within the constraints set by the device. You can even access your PlayStation 5 over 5G when out and about. But the further away you get from your console/router in both real and internet.
Barry says, my wife bought me a Portal. I'm very disappointed. It only works at home. So it works outside. You have to get up onto Wi-Fi. Like you have to get onto a Wi-Fi network.
Internet space, the worse the experience is going to be. It's that simple. Okay, so that's really important stuff to explain because just as I saw social media posts.
More people use Wi-Fi? That's crazy to me. Like I literally base my whole household, right? Like everyone in the house uses Wi-Fi, and the things that I want hardwired, I run a cord to that device, right? So if something's like 50 feet away, or if something's 100 feet away, and I want that thing to work the best, that shit's got a cord plugged in.
Posts from people posting very different experiences with their Portals, so you'll see different reviews too. I can't tell you how well the device will run for you then, but
Why do British always ruin the English language? This is that meme where you're Nathan Fillion's like,
I can offer a bit of advice on how well the portal might work for you. Put simply, grab the PlayStation Remote Play app for your phone or your laptop, set it up and give it a go. There's no secret sauce with PlayStation Portal. We're basically certain at this point it's using the exact same protocols as any standard remote play client. So testing with another device before you buy the portal could well avoid disappointment, or it could allow you to adjust your console and router.
well, the backbone, Barry, is just a controller that hooks up to your phone, right? Which he's using right now.
Locations and setup until things are optimal. With that gigantic series of caveats out the way, let's talk about the portal itself. Comes in a basic box with few frills, and the only accessory is a USB-C to USB-C cable. The manual is entirely unsatisfactory, really. I mean, I've just spent ages talking about the importance of setup to get the best possible results from the device, and there's literally no guidance along those lines in the manual. No real troubleshooting even whatsoever. Kind of suggests that Sony thinks that everything will just work when the reality could be.
So you're telling me people that like to play games online, oh lordy, so they just think that people at home are playing video games online and they have their iPhone, iPad, computer, television, microwave, air conditioning, whatever else they have in their house that are Wi-Fi, and they think that they're going to get the best playing experience by playing Wi-Fi multiplayer and then blame the video game. Oh Lord. You do understand that if I have, let's say, 1,000 download speed or whatever, and I have 10 devices on that speed, okay, on that device, right, on that one system, then each one only gets 10. Right? Do people understand that? And if you take one off, then it splits it between the rest to make more. That's why if you're online, you're having problems, you tell everyone else to get off, so you have the most. Like, what are we talking about here? If you're an online player and you don't have your plugged into the router,
quite different. This is disappointing. Portal itself, though, I'd say it's a fairly nice piece of kit. I mean, fundamentally, it is a DualSense controller sliced in half with an 8-inch tablet screen placed in the middle. But these two elements separate it from other remote play contenders. As it is a DualSense, you'll get the complete DualSense experience down to the excellent haptics and...
I mean, that's not always an option. Give me a scenario where you can't get a cable to run into your console. Are you living in a 5,000 square foot place and you can't afford a cable to get it from your router to your... Maybe your router's in the bedroom. Okay? But then your PlayStation's in the living room. Move your router. Right? Move your router. If you're an online player and you're playing on Wi-Fi, that's crazy. If you're not playing online, then not a problem. But if you're an online player and you're playing across your concrete house with Wi-Fi signal that can barely reach your PlayStation, and you're playing online and your ping is out the roof, the problem is not the console, it's not the house, it's not the internet, it's you refusing to plug in your cable into your console.
Feedback, along with those adaptive triggers. The 8-inch 1080p 60Hz screen is typically larger than remote play experiences on a mobile phone, and the screen itself is pleasingly bright and vibrant with nice deep color reproduction. Weak blacks aside, I like it. On the back of the unit behind the display,
I'm amazed that people will buy a $500 box, $70 games, $25 microtransactions, but they won't buy a $20 to $30 cable that could run to make their gaming experience that they just spent $1,000 on better. I'm amazed.
display, you'll find the USB-C socket. It seems to be for charging only, with a 3.5mm stereo jack next to it. On the top, there's the power and pairing buttons along with volume controls. But that's pretty much it. Everything else is standard DualSense. Takes about 2.5 hours to charge and you should get circa 5 hours of play, but expect that to vary according to the intensity of the haptics in the game you're playing, the brightness of the screen, even the loudness of the speakers. Inside the Portal, according to Sony's open source disclosures, is a Snapdragon 680 processor. Decent enough 6nm mainstream mobile phone SoC, which means that there's plenty of horsepower for the basic interface, plus support for HEVC video decoding at 1080p at 60 frames.
I can literally get a 50-foot internet cable, Cat 6, for $13. Get out of here.
Frames per second. I mean, there's a lot of potential for the Portal beyond streaming, but right now streaming's all it can do, and streaming just from the console, by the way, not from the cloud. There are a lot of missed opportunities with this device, cloud streaming being one of them, but also there's no reason it couldn't have been used as a standard DualSense controller either, but Sony isn't allowing that. Let's talk about remote play then, because we've not been especially kind to it in the past here at Digital Foundry. And judged by our standards, yeah, I do think it's quote-unquote not great. I mean, let's face facts here. Remote play is a value-added feature for the PlayStation 5. But as a streamer, it means you're going to get extra lag and image quality compromises. It's inherent to the whole idea. I mean, the first impression you get from the
Let me rewind that for a second. Let me rewind that for a second.
Portal isn't. But as a streamer, it means you're going to get extra lag and image quality compromises. It's
Extra lag and visual downgrade, which is against everything that a PlayStation fan stands for, because they want the best quality. I'm just saying.
inherent to the whole idea. I mean, the first impression you get from the Portal isn't exactly that good once the stream from the PS5 front end kicks in. You can see on the screen there that there are obvious banding issues and, well, a static screen. And with the Portal right next to the router here, this is best case scenario stuff. Not a great start. But let's take a closer look at crucial elements of remote play streaming, such as image quality and latency. And let's kick off with those lag metrics, which directly affects the quality of gameplay. To get a best case scenario here, I have the PlayStation 5 hooked up via Ethernet to my router, Portal about 1 meter away from that. What you're seeing here is the HDMI output of the PlayStation 5 on my LG CX OLED screen, and I've propped up the Portal in front of it. Here in Gran Turismo 7 there's an on-screen timer, and you can simply compare the timer on the TV to the timer on the Portal to get an idea of the time difference between them. By my reckoning, and after looking at many samples, there's a 4 to 5 frame difference between them. So you're basically looking at circa 66 to 83 milliseconds of extra latency compared to a decent TV running in game mode. I double checked this by using the PC Remote Play app with a wired connection between all devices and got very similar results. Everyone's perception of lag is different, so you may not notice that. If you don't have game mode active on your TV, Portal may feel just the same. But if you do, well, that frame differential there, it's broadly equivalent, touch higher actually, to the response difference between a 30 FPS game and a 60 FPS game.
That's a big difference. That's a big difference. So not only are PlayStation fans the one that scream 60 frames per second, but if they play on the Portal, they're basically playing it at 30 frames per second because of the lag.
So it goes without saying that you should use the performance mode in any given PS5 game when playing on PlayStation Portal to claw back as many milliseconds as possible. So latency, definitely a thing, and I couldn't help but feel that remote play could be improved to do better because, well, the Nintendo Wii U from 2012 had a far superior lower latency.
Oh, did he just compare? Oh my God. Congratulations, PlayStation. You've made the Portal, which the Wii U from 11 years ago was better.
Experience. John took this footage for me showing the gamepads.
Hold on a second. All right.
to do better because, well, the Nintendo Wii U from 2012 had a far superior lower latency experience. John took this footage for me showing the gamepad's latency when compared to his own LG CX TV. There's literally no difference in latency between the TV and the Wii U game.
Congratulations. You made a shittier product than 11 years ago that your competitor had no delay.
Pad. Both have 1 frame of lag. Pause the feed at any point and you'll see that the timer in Mario Kart 8 there on the gamepad is identical to what's on the TV. Nintendo engineered low latency streaming over Wi-Fi via a collaboration with Broadcom, and I can't help but wonder whether a bespoke solution like this with a remote play fallback might have created a better product. Ultimately though, that's not really an option, as rather than build it in from the outset as Nintendo did, well, as I said, PlayStation Portal is effectively Sony building a product on top of what is a value-added feature, not a core part of the feature set. Let's talk about image quality next. You can't capture the Portal screen, but it is seemingly using standard remote play with no bespoke enhancements. And in ideal network conditions, there's no reason to suggest you're not getting the 15 megabits per second, 1080p, 60 frames per second stream that is remote play at its top spec. I used the open source remote play client Chaiki to ensure I was streaming that top end quality level to my PC, and I captured that, while at the same time capturing the raw output of my PlayStation 5, but this time set to 1080p video output. So with this head-to-head, we should be seeing remote play before and after compression. On the left, the downscaled 1080p that goes into the PlayStation 5's video encoder. On the right, the decoded stream from remote play. To further ensure quality, my router was wired to both the PlayStation and the PC here. So this should be as good as it'll get on Portal, if not slightly better. So there does seem to be some kind of color space translation going on here, but even so, there is obvious macro blocking and banding on the PlayStation 5 front end, as I mentioned earlier. Graduated flat colors can be tricky for video streaming, but even so, I expected better. Into gameplay, and assuming the stream quality holds up over...
Yeah, you can see it's darker. Like, you can see the... Like, this is darker than the remote play.
Wi-Fi. Well, the actual video quality can be quite impressive, especially when downscaled to be viewed on an 8-inch tablet screen. Even though there is a 1-to-1 pixel match with the stream, it's not quite pristine though. And as it is with all streams, you lose color precision even before compression kicks in. Still, on slower moving content, a good amount of detail is still retained, even in a visually rich game.
Oh, you really could tell right there. Obviously, they do nitpicking, right? They're diagnosing it in very, like, if you're playing this, you're not, most 99.9% of the people won't notice a goddamn thing.
Rich game like,
I mean, hell, I just found out that 80% of the population plays their games online with no Wi-Fi, with just Wi-Fi.
Horizon Forbidden West here. Slower paced content with muted color can look very, very close to native to the naked eye. However, fast action and varying dramatically different levels of color is the nemesis of streaming technology, and so it is here. I'm using Wipeout here, where compression is more noticeable on a YouTube video. On the Portal itself, well, a smaller screen helps to hide the issues. It kind of presents as more of a sort of subtle smearing in my view. Looks presentable in most scenarios, but it doesn't look native. One thing I should point out though is that the Portal does seem capable of losing frames, even in best case scenarios. While a 60 FPS game generally presents as a 60 FPS game on the Portal, there is some stutter at points, and this is presented even in optimal conditions. Maybe you'll spot it, maybe you won't, but I've seen it on all remote play clients I tested. Even the wired connection on PC, which is surprising, suggests some sort of issue within PlayStation 5 itself. Okay then, so let's try to sum everything up after all of that, which is to say that, well, PlayStation Portal, it's a nicely presented remote play device, but at the heart of it, it is still using remote play. And in that sense, I can't help but feel a bit disappointed. Let's talk positives first. The full DualSense experience does set this apart from other remote play experiences. The haptics are just as good as the standard controller, as are
Yeah, but can't you use the regular PlayStation haptic feedback controller on remote play? Can't you do that?
the adaptive triggers. And that's because it is a DualSense controller, basically. Screen isn't OLED loveliness, but I have few complaints with it as LCDs go. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's attractive, but, well, there are issues here, and maybe they'll matter to you, maybe they won't, but let's get into it. Even in best case scenarios, there seem to be frame dropping issues on the device. There are some problems with image quality, even in the best case scenarios, even though I would say that when it is working, it's not bad. The lag is going to be an issue if you are sensitive to it. It essentially takes us back to the days before game mode or low latency mode was a thing on living room screens. There's also limitations in use case scenarios to consider. The Portal is all about taking PlayStation 5 gaming away from the living room display, but to keep image quality up and latency as low as it will go, you kind of need to be in the vicinity of your router, which in turn should be wired up to your PlayStation 5, which means that the console in turn needs to be within close proximity to your router. I can't help but think that a direct connection mode could have cut out the middleman and ensured you wouldn't have needed to attach it to the router at all.
So you're telling me that 80% of the people, this is what you guys put in chat, that own a PlayStation don't have their PlayStation hardwired into their router. And now they're playing their PlayStation Portal remotely. So their PlayStation that they're streaming from or remote play from is literally competing with the Portal itself for bandwidth so you could play your game remotely instead of just hardwiring it in. Amazing. Amazing.
This may of course limit actual online connectivity for the console, mind you, as the PlayStation 5 would still need some sort of connection to the internet for downloading, multiplayer, that sort of thing. But again, that highlights that remote play was never really designed for a bespoke peripheral like the PlayStation Portal. It was always a value-added feature. We know that second screen gaming can be faster and more responsive because, well, crushingly, the Wii U gamepad did it 11 years ago. And yeah, while the stream there was 480p, it's pretty much pristine. Almost native quality, I'd say, something that the PlayStation Portal doesn't quite pull off. Yes, it's pushing a higher resolution, but you know, in 11 years, Wi-Fi protocols have evolved significantly.
You think?
I can't help but feel that the Portal should be giving the user more information on the quality of the experience, along with tools to improve it. The whole system is built around the concept of plug and play, that your Wi-Fi setup is automatically good enough. And well, I'd say that there's no guarantee of that at all. Other things I'd like to see. First of all, the Portal should support cloud streaming. It's a no-brainer.
And I agree with that. And they said there is down the line, right? They said it's not activated yet.
And would add a bit more value to the rather expensive top-tier PlayStation Plus subscription tier. Why it isn't doing this out of the box, I don't know. It's just baffling. The Portal also blocks attempts to stream games from the cloud via the console, which, bearing in mind, would result in 2 sets of lag and image quality reductions. Probably a good thing. Secondly, a non-streaming mode that simply allows the Portal to act like another DualSense controller. I think this would be extremely useful. After all, you've basically bought a highly expensive extra joypad. Why not be able to use it as a standard controller as well as a streamer? Finally, well, look, the dream would be to emulate prior Sony handhelds on this thing, and maybe the PlayStation.
Like, why didn't they? Why didn't they make what the PSP Vita was?
PlayStation 1 as well, you know, actual fan service. So that's the PlayStation Portal then. I've spent a lot of time with this one in search of a spark of genius, I guess, that sets it apart from standard remote play. But the only difference really comes from the form factor and the screen. I don't have too much of an issue with the price point because nobody's really been able to bring in a streaming device that's that much cheaper. but it's fair to say that Sony could have delivered a whole lot more in terms.
Not saying the device itself, Travis, the technology that was in the device. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Terms of features, but just didn't. Ultimately, if remote play works for you, you'll likely be delighted with this. And if you're unsure, well, check it out with your phone or computer first, using those existing remote play apps. And that's the end of this video, so please do.
He literally said, try it out on your remote play first before you go buy one.
Like, subscribe, share, on the off chance that it was of use.
Yeah. It's like, instead of go spending $200, first go spend $13 and hook up your goddamn PlayStation or Xbox, whatever console you have, to your actual router. Like, come on. I don't understand. You could probably buy like 100-foot for a good price. Here, I can get a 200-foot. Let's see, 200-foot. $80. 200 feet, $80. Right? I'm just amazed that people spend thousands of dollars on things and they don't get the $10 correct HDMI cable to make their 4K television work. I'm amazed that people spend hundreds of dollars on their internet each month and get the highest tier router and modem and all this stuff, and yet they don't buy the cable that connect their system. They buy a $500 console and yet don't hook it up to have a better experience. I'm amazed by that. But am I though? I think about it. Most people don't even know they're not looking at 4K. They're like, oh yeah, they have no idea. Yeah. They're like, yeah, my router's in my bedroom, which is 30 feet away from me, and I live in a concrete house. I don't understand. My internet, it's working fine. I don't know why I can't get any signal. Wait, my wife, my son, my dog, my vacuum, my refrigerator, my air conditioning, they're all attached to the Wi-Fi. I don't understand why I'm getting bad signal. Like, everything's on Wi-Fi. Why is my internet slow? It boggles my mind, Rose. It boggles my mind. It's like buying a sports car, but putting a Honda engine in it. It's like buying a Lamborghini and putting a Volkswagen Beetle engine in it. Yeah, I have slow connection. How many devices do you have connected? Well, I only have 35 devices connected, not all on Wi-Fi. Yeah, Salty, for content creators, they have so many options for audio. And if a person's going to make videos, like, just, you could get a decent microphone, like, for $40, $50. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you do in life, you have to invest in something. Oh, you're talking content, not content creation. I'm talking online games. Oh, it comes with a microphone. Don't all systems come with a microphone now? Like, I used to have, I mean, this is just my microphone from the thing, right? I used to have that little like Burger King, you know, microphone that came. Like everything comes, but people don't get it, man. And look, this goes down a whole rabbit hole, but this is why I say that most people don't care about Metacritic. Most people don't care about reviews. Most people don't care that it's 60 frames, 30 frames. Most people don't care. It's the exact same thing. Most people don't even have their internet hooked up to their device that they want to play internet on. They're just like, it's magical. Like, there's just magic. It just happens. Like, you guys understand, like, there's a difference between running a cable, like, 30 feet, 50 feet. You know what? You know what? I'm not even going to go down that road. I guarantee you these people, maybe you're in chat, you have no idea how power works. And you just plug one plug with 10 plugs into one outlet, and you're like, yeah, it's getting power. Everything's good. You're like Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation, where he's got like all the outlets and it's plugged into one. Yeah, and then wonder why your shit breaks because of a power surge. Jones is like, I work at the electric company. I have no idea how power works. We're all good. Fantastic. No one understands ampage and volts. I don't understand how why my thing overheated. I understand. I just have 25 plugs. 25 plugs into one outlet. What's wrong? Can't believe it. Salty says, moral of the story is, plug it in, chat. All right, to be fair, you work in a chem lab. All right. I have not played Death's Door. The new Destiny 2 trailer just dropped for the seasons. All right, do you want me to put porn on for you people? All right, let me get the Destiny 2 trailer. It just came out, right? Destiny 2 2 hours ago. Here you go, people. Here you go. Get your journey here.
To pursue the witness. Only Riven can open the way. Riven, whose heart was torn out by guardians. We have a dragon to charm.
I am dead, as are the rest of my kind. But if you were to secure my eggs, then you would also secure your heart's desire. It is your turn to grant a last wish. Beware, Guardian. You may find it a place most unwelcoming.
You knew from the beginning.
Last words. Last wish. Last words. Last wish.
Do they still do the method where you play the season and you have to wait week to week to week to progress? She looks good, 30. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you, Water. Does nothing for me. Does nothing for me. Cruz says, yes, they effing do. Yeah, I get nothing. Yeah, week after week. Yeah, I got nothing on it. I'm as shriveled up and limp as a cold day. Nothing. Destiny doesn't do anything for me anymore. Like every time that comes out, every time a video comes out, I'm like, if I was playing, I would wait 11 weeks. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, Quintar, have a good one. You like playing 11-minute activity 500 times? They say no, there will be no delay in the final shape, only to say, hey, the season is delayed until June. Wait a minute, isn't the final shape delayed? It's delayed till June, right? The dude says somebody ran over his septic tank again. No. I did, Salty. I did. We find out tomorrow if we get in. And anyone that gets in, you get 3 extra codes to give out to other people. So in our community, if you're a member and you're part of our Discord, stay tuned. If anyone gets in, I will post invites if I get it. I'm gonna have one. If I get it, I'm gonna give 1 code to Sarge because I know he didn't sign up, and then I'll have 2 extra codes to give out if I get in. I don't know if I get in. No, they're not putting them out till tomorrow, Travis. So you can stop checking your email. They're not sending out the emails till the 29th. They put them out on the 29th, and it starts on the 30th. Now I have a question. Inside this beast here, where is it? This creature that comes out, like this shit looks like a larger version of the things from Stranger Things. I don't know how that would work, Water, because you're not supposed to let people know you have it. You know what I mean? So to put it out there as a contest to get it, I don't know if I could do that. The fact that you're getting codes and you're under NDA to then announce that you're giving out codes as, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. Is the NDA that strict? I don't know. I haven't seen the NDA. Yeah, the contest is you have to get my face tattooed on your ass, and then we need visual confirmation before I can send it to you. So tomorrow, two people are getting tattoos. How dedicated are you? What if I got my ass tattooed on your face? Wait. If you want, I got my ass tattooed on your face. So you want to put your ass on my face. Well, that won't happen. In a virtual world, on a physical form, your ass is coming nowhere near my face. I would say dreams do come true. Image / screenshots, videos, or any text-based... Okay, so posting or streaming. Images, screenshots, videos, or any text-based impressions of your experience online via social media or any public forum is strictly prohibited. So... Or any text-based impressions. So, okay. So you can... I can then say... I can give out a code. I just can't say, I'm having a great time with this game. Here's a code. If anybody wants it, I can just be like, I have a code for Suicide Squads. Anybody, you know. You know what we could do? I have an idea. I'll take a page from... I'll take a page from... Lord Podcast, right? I like what they do there, right? When King has a code or something, he gives out small pieces of it throughout the podcast. So if I get in, okay, I will have 2 codes to give out. So on Thursday night on the podcast, GXG, I will give out the code throughout the show. Yeah, I saw that they were updating that for Batman. No, it would just be through the show, Jones. Not 1 letter a day. It'd just be throughout the 2 hours. Browden said, Mike, I tried Gotham Knights. I actually thought it looked really nice, and the story seemed pretty good. I hated the feel of the combat, however. Oh. The combat I actually liked. You actually, when you can start piecing it together and going from one person to the next, it actually feels really good. That game got so unfair judgment because of the 30 frames per second. But, you know, each their own. Yeah, but here's the thing though. Why would you compare it though? Rocksteady didn't make it. So why would you compare it to that? It's just a separate game. Like if I have two people making something, right? Like yeah, I'll do a food thing, right? My grandmother made the best lasagna, right? My mom also makes a really good lasagna, but it's nothing alike like when my grandmother made it. Right? Two different people making a lasagna. Right? Two different companies making two separate games. And one game, I think, did a really good job at the combat. It just wasn't as good as that game. But to say that, you know, I don't know. The combat's not what wrecked that game. It was the 30 frames per second. I also want lasagna. I also don't see how you do the Arkham fighting multiplayer. What do you mean, Robert? Later, Travis. Oh, you know what I gotta do? I gotta switch the... We didn't talk about the Marvel. Gotta get her face off the thumbnail. I have a picture of the portal somewhere. I thought I had a PlayStation Portal picture. No. One second, guys. All right. Oh, the combat in Gotham. Look, that, I'm not saying it fantastic, but I don't compare every game to. I mean, it's the best game until another game comes along, and I'm like, man, this is better. It feels better than Gotham Knights. Even Spider-Man, it comes pretty damn close. But the feel of like when you punch somebody in Batman, it feels so good. I think the lack of content after the story is what kills it right now. Same thing happened with Avengers. Yeah, but the difference between Gotham Knights and Avengers is that Gotham Knights wasn't a live service game. We get in this conversation then about, like, it wasn't a live service game. Sort of like Outriders wasn't a live service game. And people are like, well, once I beat Outriders, it was dead. It's a dead game. It's a single-player game. There was a repeat value in there, but it wasn't a live service game. Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be, my thought, and I said this video when it came out. I thought Gotham Knights, you could tell that the foundation was built with microtransactions and stuff. Like, you know for damn well all those cosmetics that you got in the game, you were going to buy those or earn them time or money. And the loot system that popped up and all this stuff, it just seemed like it was baked in, and then they took it out. Hence why it got delayed. That's just my speculation, though. They talked about her in the, like, about her, but I don't know if she got cut. Jason, I said that the game should have more villains and more whatnot. You know, like, add more heroes, add more villains. They could have done a lot more stuff with case files, but they scrapped it. They're done. They're not working on that game anymore, I don't think. I don't think there's anybody working on that game. Which is sad, because I think they could have even made more heroic assault type of stuff. Gotham Knights was I actually like, and I know this is going to be a big like shocker. I feel like going around the city in Gotham Knights is a better feeling. And I haven't played the new Spider-Man, okay? But playing Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, like playing the story of Spider-Man 1 and 2, or Miles Morales, was a really good story. Really good feeling going around the city. But doing all those, like, stopping the criminals inside the world of Spider-Man felt really like, okay? At least in Gotham Knights, there was multiple factions, and they were different every time. There was more. I just felt different. It felt better. It felt like you were actually cleaning the city. Because as you beat them, it cleared the city out of that section for the night. And then once you were all done, then you went on to the next day, right? In Spider-Man, it was like you could beat someone on the block, go away, and then come back 5 seconds later, and you're doing another one. I like what they were doing with Gotham Knights, and they could have did so much better, but they half-assed it. They're just like, Right, well, that's why I'm comparing it to the first game, Water, and Miles Morales, right? Even when you did those, and again, I haven't played the second one, so maybe they made it better, but Gotham came after that. So I felt like they played those games and were like, well, let's do it better. And I think they did. I think they did it better. But now if Spider-Man 2 is better than those, then great. Yeah, it just felt good. Now, obviously, the characters, you know, we had this conversation over a year ago. You know, their reasoning of that there wasn't a lot of people on the streets was because it was late night. They had a lockdown because of the escapees left the prison or whatnot. And in Suicide Squads, they have the thing where nobody's around because they all got turned into the bad guys. That's why there's no citizens. Spider-Man uses it as a way to get XP through challenges. No, they had factions, but it didn't listen to what I said, Rose. When you beat something in Spider-Man, right? You would beat it on the corner, let's say by the Empire State Building. There was a guy who stole a car. You steal a car, great. You stop the criminal from stealing the car. And then all of a sudden, 2 blocks away, you went to go stop a burglary. Okay, great. You stopped the burglary. Now, going back to the first spot, there's another crime. It wasn't like you cleaned up the street. It didn't feel like you cleaned up the street. And then what happens with that is, as you're doing that, as you stop in the car, you stop a car, you stop a car again. It's the same car. It's same animation, same thing. It was like monotonous after time. So you stop doing that. Okay? Right? It didn't feel like you were cleaning the streets. It was just, oh, you're over in this area? Let's throw something else at you. Stop this criminal. Stop the... In Gotham Knights, once you beat the bad guys, they didn't come back for that night. So you literally cleaned the streets. Yeah, you gotta listen to everything I said. I'm not taking shots at Spider-Man or Miles Morales. I'm saying the way it felt, it didn't feel like you were cleaning the streets. It was like, oh, it detected that you were in the area, and they're like, oh, there's a criminal. And you're like, oh, I just did that. Now, if you mix that in, as you're going to the story, you progress the story, days changes and stuff go on, and it's like, oh, it's a new day, you're playing. In Batman or Gotham Knights, you clean the streets, you got the stuff, then you progress the story. You clean the streets. There's nobody left on the streets. Right, Z. When you did certain things, it would also move the story forward as well. Yeah, it didn't capture it for me when you first play Spider-Man, right? When you first played Spider-Man, the first one, back in 2018, it was awesome. Because you're like, oh, cool, I'm swinging through the city. Oh, I get to stop crimes. I get to do that stuff. You go through the story. You do the challenges. You do all the stuff. Then you're done with the story, right? You're done with the story. And then you go back into the city, and it's the same 5, 7 criminals, right? Not the guy from bothering the person in the park, car chase, bank robbery, guys at the construction yard. And there's no sense of actually cleaning. You could sit there and go back and forth between 2 sections. Sure. The same thing though, Rose, as when you play Starfield and you clear out the science lab. And then you go to a different planet and the same science lab is there. And then you clean out the science lab. That's fun for just a bit. And then you're like, it's the same science lab on the 10th planet. Okay? That's the same feeling on a smaller scale. I'm Spider-Man. I'm beating the guys in the park because they're bothering a little old lady. You go away. You fly by the park again. They're like, help me, help me. And you're like, oh, I got to stop these guys from beating the lady in the park again. Oh, there's a guy who stole a car at a bank robbery. Let's chase the car down. Swing this guy out. Swing this guy out. It's the same thing. It's just they're respawning because the game is going, okay, well, he's in this area. Let's give him something to do. Let's see if he bites. As he's going, when you're going from one mission to the next and you stop off to do it, cool. Right? But if you're not doing that, and you're just going around the city, you can literally just go back and forth between two sections because that's where the points are. Right? All games do it. I'm saying Gotham Knights did it better than Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales because when you beat the criminals, they literally left the area. And there was like 20, I think it was like 21, I think it was like 17 to 21 different things that could happen. How many planets have you visited in Starfield? I said I visited 20 or so. I think about 60. Like 68, I think, the last time I checked, Water. Why not do both? Swing with a motorcycle. Brilliant. Brilliant. I might have had over 100. For some reason, 68 sits. I should get one more and stop at 69. I think I have like 68. I think 62, 68. The new Spider-Verse movie is good. Good movie. I was bummed out that I have to wait to watch the last one. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The blue balls was real. I'm not going to watch Godzilla in theaters. I'll wait for it to come on HBO Max. No, I didn't see that, Artemis. What are they saying? Speaking of Starfield, did you see the developers are responding to negative Steam reviews? What are they saying? Here's the IGN. Bethesda's responding to negative reviews of Starfield on Steam. Bethesda has taken an unusual step for a AAA video game maker, responding to a negative reviews on Starfield on Steam, as they spotted on Project Zomboid developer Andy Hodgkins and flagged in a tweet representatives in Microsoft-owned company have been replying to negative reviews on Valve's platform since early November, amid Starfield's mixed user reviews rating at 69%. Many of the negative reviews echo common complies with the sprawling space game like this one, posted on November 6th from the player with 56 hours in Starfield. Boring and overrated, there's a wide universe to explore, fill it mostly with empty planets. I understand that they have to do what to sell you on the idea that there's a whole universe, but it doesn't make the game more fun. You can land on any planet, explore the copy pasta locations, and you can also see the exact locations from one end to the universe to the other, everywhere in between. A hodgepodge of messy, slappy together mechanics, bloated skill trees, exploring crafting-based buildings, an RPG and FPS, space opera, Starfield doesn't know what it wants to be. As wide as the ocean, as deep as a puddle, you can explore everywhere, but why would you want to? Okay. This review sparked a response from someone called Bethesda Kraken, who signed off their post as coming to Bethesda consumer support. Greetings. Thank you for taking the time to leave a review of Starfield. We are sorry that you do not like landing on different planets and are finding many of them empty. Some of the Starfield planets are meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. Many astronauts went to the moon and there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored. Intentions of Starfield exploration is invoked in the feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can also continue to explore and find worlds, and you offer resources you need to hidden outposts to look through. To provide feedback to development of Starfield, please feel free to submit your feedback using this form. Never stop exploring. It's pretty stock response in quotes. Ashley Chang, Bethesda's managing director, who the phrase "when astronauts went to the moon and there's nothing there," it certainly weren't bored in the New York Times feature published ahead of Starfield's September's launch. Here's more recent response, again from the busy Bethesda Kraken, to negative review. The story is generic, and the gameplay gets boring. I wish there was a reason to even bother exploring planets to building outposts. Everything is fun until you do it once, and then it's all repeating soulless chore. Okay, and then there's a developer response post on November 27th, the same day as the review. Greetings. Thank you for taking the time to leave a review of Starfield. You can also fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield is an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to compete and characters to meet. Most quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. Trying to create different characters and backgrounds and characteristics and clash, or the opposite of a previous character, oppositive character. You can also feel that you are playing total different game, but points in the different skills from characters you've previously created, and you're now faced with a completely different decision to make and difficult to encounter. There are so many layers to Starfield that you will find things that you'll never knew were possible after playing for hundreds of hours. Even after completing the main story, your adventure doesn't end. You can also continue the New Game Plus to keep exploring Starfield. I love how they're responding. Here's another example, but it's time for someone to call Bethesda, who also signs off for Bethesda's support. Greetings. Thank you for taking the time to leave a Starfield review. Here's a story. Sorry that you didn't like the landing on different planets or finding many of them empty. Some of the Starfield's plants are meant to be emptied by design, but it's not boring. The astronauts, yeah, that's generic. It's the same thing. Continue to explore, find worlds, resources, and find hidden outposts. Look through. Starfield's an RPG. That's the same thing. This is just the same thing. Even completing the main story adventure doesn't end. You can continue the New Game Plus. We're still actively working. Yeah, it's the same thing. After Bethesda Kraken responds to negative reviews from players who couldn't get over Starfield's much loading screens. Hi there. Thank you for taking the time to provide your review. And we're sorry to hear that you're disappointed with the encountering of many load screens while playing. While there are many load screens in between fast traveling, just consider the amount of data for the expansive gameplay that receives you generated and load flawlessly in under 3 seconds. We believe that the shortcoming will not hinder our players from getting lost in the worlds we create. We would be interested in hearing about experiences with bugs and see if you can assist it. Okay. There's no bugs. There's just the load screen. Never stop exploring. Thank you for taking time for the Starfield review. Given the immense size of Starfield, we felt that many more sense to be able to use your grav drive to jump to other solar systems. The option to fly freely among other planets is still there, and you can travel from one planet to another and land without needing to open up your map. If you use your scanner, however, the expedition like solar system traversal jumping and necessary. Remember, the fast travel also has its perks, as you can do it so quickly when you're trying to complete a quest. It's always giving you visuals of your ship launching and landing, thus being able to appreciate all the little details that can make customize the ship look unique. Some of the Starfield plants are meant to be empty in design. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So while indie video game developers respond to Steam reviews all the time, big publishers like Bethesda rarely get stuck in, which makes the response, however robotic, noteworthy. Why would Bethesda bother? It may be trying to steer Starfield sentiment into more positive directions, mindful and troublesome mix. User reviews think Starfield is currently the lowest rated Bethesda game ever on Valve's platform. Fallout 76 currently has the mostly positive reviews and rating at 76%, if you were wondering, and management will no doubt be keen to address that. Bethesda also has an update of Starfield number of times since the launch. which saw 10 million players in 3 weeks. The last patch, it was a 1.886, added the DLSS. We're going to be doing a lot of add-on content to Starfield, Howard said, and we love doing it. Our fans love it, and we're going to be starting an expansion pack that's going to be coming. Our plan is to do things varying size, and it's also done a lot in our previous games, so it's something that we're really looking like doing. Our fans like. So despite the size of the game, there's also we want to add as far as features in the future of the stories and like that. Hopefully it's going to be continuing. So there you go. I think it's funny that they're reacting to it. I mean, what do you want? What do you want from a video game? Right? Like what do you want from a video game? Why are they responding to people's negative reviews anyway? They can't get it through their head that not everyone is going to like the fucking game. Some people just like bad or mid. But why is that response, Rose, not for independent developers that also respond to people? Why is it ridiculous, though? I don't think it's ridiculous. What makes it pathetic? Because they're a bigger studio? What in the definition makes it pathetic? It is. Because they're a bigger studio? Why does that matter, the size of the studio, if they can do feedback or not? It's pathetic for any studio? I mean, what matters? Do you think the person that wrote the bad review is going back to see if they got responded to? That person that's writing the review is literally writing because they want people to know what they're feeling. Right? Don't they have better things to do, like fix issues in the game? The people writing are not the same people making the game. It feels like they're punching down, but they're not punching down. How would that be punching down? So, let me get this straight. When someone watches my video on YouTube and leaves a comment that doesn't like the video, or says something that I said I didn't say, and I reply back to that, is that punching down? Or is that replying to them, letting them know, well, if you watched my video, you would know that this is in the game, right? Or in my video. There's no difference. There's no difference. Because they're acting like these people's concerns and opinions are not valid. Not true. Not true. If someone watches my video, the Spider-Man Miles Morales video, that I didn't talk about why Miles Morales wasn't better than Spider-Man. I talked about because of the sales numbers. But because of the title of the thing, and they just assume because the rest of the internet is talking about it, they literally leave a comment on my thing, and I respond to them. Is that punching down? Because they're assuming, like, they didn't even watch the video. They watched 2 minutes of the video, but they didn't watch the whole video. So I'm letting them know that if you watch my video, that this is what I said. Just like they said if they played the game, they'd be like, well, this was already in the game. Empty planets were meant to be in the game. I don't find out how is that different? Me doing what I'm doing right now. You're typing, I'm responding. Is that punching down? Would it be considered punching down if I had 1 million followers? Where's that line that gets drawn? Group Papa says they're continuing to push their vision of the game. If you don't like the vision, then GTFO. When your feedback is against the vision, then it's just stupid. Yeah, I mean they're showing what they made the game. If you don't like that game, that's cool. But they're still putting it out there going, well, this was designed that way. I'm sure there's also comments of them commenting on people that like their game. I'm sure the article doesn't go over that, but I'm pretty sure if I went to Steam that we could find a reply to a person that was like, I love this game. And they're like, I appreciate you liking the game. Somebody's at my door. Give me 1 second. I just realized what time it is. I find the whole putting an empty planet comment BS as well, as they tried to make their game too large and run out of time. They didn't finish them. That's not true. We knew years ago that they were going to be doing that. That's pushing a little too I mean, I agree that there shouldn't be 1,000 planets in the game. I've said that ahead of time. I said I would have preferred that you could put 100 planets, right? And that would have been plenty. Okay. But to say, Rose, that the reason that there's planets in the game is because they're unfinished. I mean, you could look at it they put the things there, and then over time, maybe they progress. Maybe they put a DLC in and say that a different race showed up. And then all of a sudden, they put on a planet and started making a colony on there. You know what I mean? That could be part of the story. But why would you intentionally put in something barren and empty, and you know people are going to call boring? Did you hear what they said? They're basing it off of actual reality. When the astronauts went to the moon, there's no colonies on there. There's no base to explore. They went to the moon. There was nothing there, but they weren't bored. Right? And plus the planets that are there, there's things on the planet. Like there's an abandoned building, there's side missions, there's creatures to scan. Sometimes there's nothing. It's literally nothing. But you wouldn't know there's nothing if you didn't show up to the planet. There's not a space game on the planets that do it have empty planets. Say that again, Prosy? Are you saying there's no other space game with nothing on the planets? Is that what you're saying? Imagine comparing going to the moon in IRL to playing a video game. Well, I don't understand, Crowded. They literally based it off of what the real experiences were. I mean, I don't understand where you guys are going with this. First of all, in the video game, if you don't want to explore, you don't have to explore. You can literally play the game, go through the main story, do the side missions, and put it down. And you don't ever have to touch any of the extra planets. You could literally just go to the main story planets that they handcrafted and put out there and never have to touch anything else. Oh, you're saying, Crowded, imagine comparing their... Oh, I see what you're saying. So yeah, I don't think the astronauts gone to the spaceship and flew to the moon and we're bored. Right, but that's their point. Sounds good, Travis. Yeah, Prozzy. Every space game. I remember Elite Dangerous I played, and there's nothing on the planets. Why would you put that there? Because the act of exploring the planet is part of the game. No Man's Sky has nothing on certain planets. It's a video game, though, not real life. I mean, you're fighting giant monsters, so the realism comment, I'm not buying it. Not based on the reality of games are made for fun. But that is fun for people. You understand that, right? Like, imagine putting on a smaller scale. Let's take Spider-Man. Okay? In Manhattan. I swing to a certain part of the island, and I get to the corner of that island, and I search around the corner of the alleyway, and there's nothing there. Why the fuck would you put an alleyway there if there was nothing there? What are we talking about? Why would you make this part of the island if there was nothing there to explore? What are we talking about? Right? Why would I play Skyrim or Cyberpunk and go to that certain part of the section and there's nothing there? What's the point? You see where you're going? It doesn't make any sense. How are you okay with one game but not the other? Because they're recreating New York and it's based in reality. But there's nothing fucking... Stop, Rose. It's based in reality. So is Starfield. Is there a guy swinging in Manhattan right now called Spider-Man? Where are you going with this conversation right now? Where are you going with this conversation? Spider-Man is a fake character. It's in a video game, and it's in the reality of New York. But you're saying, why would you put a planet out there if it was empty? Why would you put a section of Manhattan empty if there's nothing to do? These empty fictional planets you're exploring in Starfield is not? Oh my god. I don't know what hill you're trying to die on right now. It's okay for God of War to put nothing in a corner of a map, but it's not okay for Starfield to put an empty planet. It's okay for No Man's Sky to have a planet with nothing on it. It's okay for Elite Dangerous to have a planet with nothing on it. It's okay for Star Citizen to have a planet with nothing on it, but it's not okay for Bethesda to have an empty planet with nothing on it. Oh no, you're totally fine. Never apologize for bringing up something in chat and then me going off the deep end. I'm bringing up video games. I'm bringing up video games with wide open maps. There's no difference from any other game that has a wide open map with a corner of the map has nothing to do. Starfield literally gave you 1,000 planets to explore, and you don't have to explore them if you don't want to. Part of the exploration is for people to go explore. If you're a person that doesn't like to explore, and then you go explore something and there's nothing there, that seems like a you problem, not the game's problem. Not all the planets in Starfield are real, though. Tons of fictional planets. What is that? What does that have to do if they're real or fictional? Mars is real, but the people on Mars are fake. They're actually all planets in the universe. I don't know where the field goal post is moving right now. The goal post is moving. We started with punching down with the comments of people making in Steam. And now we're talking about what planets are real or fake in a fictional video game and what's right or wrong by putting empty or unempty planets. Travis. How is it, Travis? On the outside looking in. Like, I don't understand. I've never seen so much criticism towards one studio. And it's not just you, Rose. It's literally the whole gaming base. I've never seen so much. It's like a wide open world in a game is fine in their games, but that game, there's a problem with it. It's too small. There's boundaries, and they need a vehicle to get around the boundaries. They made a map every time you land is as big as the game of Skyrim, but it's too small. And you run into the boundaries, but it's too small that you need a vehicle to get around because it's too small. Right? It's stupid because there's empty planets, but there's other space games that have empty planets, and it's fine. That has nothing to do, Prozzy, with the Xbox tax is real or not. Right? We're talking about wide open games that do the exact same thing Starfield did. At the end of the day, my point was I was thinking it's dumb that they're attacking people who left negative criticism. People cannot like your game. And my point was, can you see why they attack? Right? I don't think it's punching down. And you're more than welcome to say that the game is boring. But they have also the same right to tell you why, sure, that you might not like the game because it's boring because there's nothing on that planet. But they're telling you the reason that it is boring and empty is because not all planets have life on them. Which was a design choice they created in their game. So they reiterate that there's shooting and exploring and spaceship building and like you could go do any of those things. Bethesda's been a punching bag since Fallout 76. I just find it, if you're going to punch the bag, you got to compare the bag to everything else that's out there, right? A wide open game on a much grander scale, right? It has 100 things to do over here. It's got one thing over here, and everyone's like, that planet is empty and boring. Fucking terrible. Like, do you like exploring? That's it. Exploring is a risk of rolling the dice if there's going to be something cool or not. On a smaller scale, if I'm playing Skyrim, Fallout, God of War, Spider-Man, I'm swinging to a section, I'm walking to a section, I'm driving to a section, I show up to that section of the map. Is there something going to be there? Maybe. Maybe. Or maybe not. There's no difference on the small section of that compared to the larger scale of what Starfield's doing, or Star Citizen, or No Man's Sky. If you're going to hold it to the same standards, make sure you go across the board. I want the same level of intensity when Pandora comes out. And when you walk over to the forest and there's nothing to pick up in that section, I want that same passion of, this fucking game's boring. There's nothing in this section of the map. It's a wide open game, Travis. It goes right into the conversation. Wide open games that have big maps better have stuff to do. Otherwise, it's not even out yet. It can't have hurt us. Same standards. I think it's just dumb that they wasted manpower to apply and didn't see Sony because people responding to bad reviews for people saying it's woke trash. I'm sure if you looked, Dave, you would find something reply to it, right? If you look for good, you'll find good. If you look for bad, you'll definitely find bad. I mean, look what he's saying. They have 6 articles already on Bethesda responding to negative reviews. That's news. I said it yesterday in the show. This is planned. There's no tax, right? It's Xbox has more negative than PlayStation. PlayStation's more popular, okay? And Xbox is not as popular. But Xbox, anything written about any Xbox, software, anything, gets more views than if you talk about something that's good. This is facts. This is how social media is run. This is how YouTube algorithm works, right? If something is bad, people are looking, they want to shit on it. They want to get on things. I've watched some videos, Travis. I haven't played Spider-Man 2, but It screams. It screams it. I think you might have missed it. If you played it and you didn't notice it, then the conversation we had of blind love, when you're blindly loving something and you kind of just miss out on stuff, that's basically it. All I did was internet search Bethesda's Starfield in Steam, and I found 15 negative articles, one positive one. The positive one was talking about the update in the last 7 hours. That's what gets clicks. Travis, but you do, and I don't want to pick a fight here, but you do sound a little hypocritical here, because you're the same person that brings up television shows and stuff when they have that woke agenda stuff. Just saying. Rose says, I don't think the stuff makes it woke. They definitely did have a stuff, but they just trying to be inclusive in my thoughts. No. But what I'm saying, Travis, is that you're saying that you don't go in looking to hate something. That's your video games. But you definitely have a bias choice of when you did talk about the stuff on movies and television shows, right? If you're not looking for it, then you won't see it, right? Have you guys... I don't know if you guys watch Doctor Who. I stopped watching Doctor Who a decade and a half ago. 2 decades. Okay. I think the last time I watched Doctor Who was like 2008, 2009. But I watched certain people, and now I've seen a bunch of different videos. Did you see what happened in the Doctor Who show? Talking about falling from the heavens over here. Jesus. To go from what Doctor Who was to what it is now, and then I'm just like, what is happening? What is happening? They literally brought back one of the doctors just to shit on him. It's amazing. Amazing. Like, why? What are we doing? No, not the female doctor, Travis. You're talking about the last doctor. They brought back Tennant as the doctor in the 60th anniversary episode, and it literally is preaching to him the entire time. It's literally preaching to him the entire time. If you're a hammer, everything you see is a nail. I like that, Sarge. Oh, they've turned up the dial, Z. And the funny part is, Disney is the one who funded it. So I saw a quote, I forget who it was. They were like, Disneyfied Star Wars, Disneyfied Marvel, and then they're like, Disneyfied Doctor Who, and they're like, like they were just like, I was like, what is happening? Again, I haven't watched Doctor Who in 2 decades, over 2 decades, right? That'd be like 25 years, 25 years. But out for 60, I stopped watching 25 years ago. It's just sad. Sad. All right, it's 1:30. I appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out with us. We'll be back tonight. I don't know what we're playing tonight. We might play Lord of the Rings tonight. Go back in. I don't know, Akuta Papa, if you're able to play. If not, maybe I'll play something else. Maybe we'll jump into Division. I don't know. We'll play something tonight. Watch inside the Discord, and I'll show up. Right now, it's scheduled as Lord of the Rings, but 8 p.m. tonight, we'll play some video games, and then we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow morning for some more gaming news. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other news to talk about. There usually is. And we'll have conversations and then hang out and whatnot. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike, and see you again tomorrow. Because people love hate watching. And then on top of that, go check out our uploads. I'm putting out the Starfield one that we did yesterday, today. That'll be going up today. Other than that, appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.